Shepard Show.
Edition of the Pete Shepard Show. It is indeed a hump day, Wednesday, September 4th. How is everybody doing today? Thanks, everybody, for checking us out here across the Coastal Sports Network and on the Coastal Sports Network video platform, which is freaking awesome. You can follow me at PShep326 on X, Twitter, on Facebook, SR1029 The Game, SR1029TheGame.com, Ion TV, powered by Ion Tampa Bay, CSN Florida, Spotify, LinkedIn, Rumble, YouTube, and Twitch, and call or text the show 727-858-6650, 727-858-6650. Angel Martinez, executive producer, co-host extraordinaire, and host of Martinez and Company, will join us in a little bit. He'll pop in a little, trying to figure out just a little minor glitch today that is a pain in the tuchus a little bit, but we're going to figure it out. How's everybody doing? Man, we got so much going on today. Great show lined up for you again. So excited. We got lots more college football news. The new AP Top 25 poll is out, as is the coaches poll. Coaches poll proving once again they're stupid. Not that the coaches are stupid. The people they send in to vote, which is usually some SID, lackey, some 19-year-old kid to vote for some of these things is ridiculous. We'll go through the polls. I'll tell you why. Some of it is way off base here. NFL and lots more college football news. There's a rumor out there about Billy Napier at Florida that some young reporter put out there that in Orlando. I'm not even gonna. I don't think it's accurate yet. I don't think I'm gonna wait. I don't even want to say what it is. You can kind of guess what it is, but I don't even want to say it. But I looked up his credentials, and he's a legitimate reporter. I don't want to embarrass him yet because he threw this out there. Thought it was a hoax at first, but we'll see. So lots of college football news to get to as well. Going to go over both top 25 polls. NFL Week 1 approaching. That's tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Week 1 is tomorrow. Baltimore at Kansas City. Game 1, defending Super Bowl champion, Kansas City Chiefs, going up against my Super Bowl pick, the Baltimore Ravens. It's not because I don't think Kansas City can get there. No one's ever won 3 in a row, so I need that to be proven to me. So I've always said in the past, nothing is impossible after 2004. Am I right? When my Red Sox came back and beat the Yankees down 0-3. Anything is certainly possible. But that's just my personal opinion. Because who else would it be? Why do we always say that? In my opinion. We all do these talk shows. We all say it, me included. It's my opinion. Well, whose is it? I mean, I'm not being controlled by a ventriloquist, right? I am a dummy, but I'm not being controlled by a ventriloquist. Anywho, so lots of NFL news to talk about. A lot of preview sound for some of the games, not all the games, but some, including opening night. MLB rundown. Leon Draisaitl signs a huge deal with the Edmonton Oilers in hockey, $112 million, an 8-year contract extension. That's going to make him the highest paid player in the salary cap era at $14 million a year, surpassing Austin Matthews of the Toronto Maple Leafs. So Stan Bowman, who's just brought in, hired in late July, makes an immediate impact. So there you have it. We got so much to do, lots of video. Bill Belichick and Matt Patricia on a podcast breaking down the Patriots draft. You're going to find that interesting. There's some stuff from Pat McAfee as well. We've got a college football breakdown about the latest in the new AP poll, what some of the guys think over on ESPN, and a whole lot more. And I do want to say, when I worked at ESPN Southwest Florida for 7 very good years with Craig Sheeman and Chris, one of our producers and just an extraordinary gentleman, Rick Church, who worked there, still does work there. One of the greatest people I've ever met. Just a super guy and an even better dad, better person. His son Evan. Those of you who know me and know us, Rick's. And he posted this on Facebook. I knew he wasn't doing well. I knew he was very sick. His son, Evan, had severe muscular dystrophy. He used to come in. He really wasn't mobile except for he would come in on the wheelchair and had all this equipment, and Rick would bring him in from time to time. And just a super kid, funny, loves sports, huge Minnesota, because they're from Minnesota originally, huge Minnesota Viking, huge Minnesota Twins fan, all the way across, Timberwolves. And he fought so hard. He fought so hard. Um, Even the 7 years that I knew him, and unfortunately, you know, he fought as hard as he could, but could not fight anymore, and passed away amongst family and friends at the hospital the other night. So I just want to express our condolences to Rick and Judy, I believe his wife, Rick and Judy Church. Rick is such a great guy, and the passing of their son Evan, who was just one of the super nicest and good souls you would ever meet. So I know those of you who know me and have listened when I was over at ESPN SWFL, you know Rick Church. He produces not only shows during the week at times, but you know him from Jeff Nixon's golf show, and he produced on Saturday. I mean, he was always there. If you didn't hear him, he was behind the scenes, making sure the station sounded tip top, which it always did behind the scenes, whether it was running Tampa Bay Buccaneer football or the Hurricanes or the Gators or any college football, any baseball team. We had the Red Sox early, then Tampa Bay. He always ran everything to a T. Very professional. But Evan, cannot say enough about that young man. He was a great kid, and man, you're talking about someone who fought for life. That kid, and he always had a great demeanor about him. Always did. Always did. It was always he just wanted he didn't want sympathy. He wanted you to feel well. He loved his music. He loved sports, and he's going to be sorely missed. All right. So again, condolences and hugs and thoughts and prayers to Rick and Judy Church and the entire family on the passing of their son Evan. All righty. Just wanted to get that out of the way. I knew over the weekend he wasn't doing well, and but that had happened before a couple times over the years where it got bad. But this time it just was too much. So, okay, condolences to Rick and Judy. Back here on the Pete Shepard Show, it is a Hump Day Wednesday. Still trying to find out. Let's see, Angel Martinez. See, we're having a problem here. Usually I send Angel the Total Sports prep stuff every day. Well, it didn't bounce back on my end. Interesting, Angel. Excuse me while I tell him this because it did not bounce back on my end the last time. There we go. And there he is. Popping in. Uh,
I don't know. It's been a freaking wacky morning this morning. I have not a clue why in the world. Sometimes, let's love Google. Don't get me wrong. I think they do most of the time a terrific job, and there's times when they decide they want to do stuff. So I'm trying to get your email.
the last one I sent you didn't bounce back. So
No, it's still. Then I'm still waiting for it to get into my inbox.
okay, that's why that's why. At least I know that it didn't bounce back. So I'm sure it'll get there. I sent it like 5 minutes ago, whatever it was.
Yeah, it's bananas. It's one of those mornings when things like this morning I went to go do something simple in the bathroom, turned out to be a disastrous mess. So it's just been one thing after the other. Hi,
Did you go TP, Deb?
See, yeah, that's what I felt like. Thankfully she's still sleeping. So it's just been a morning. I have not a freaking clue what in the world it was, but it's been a morning. So now instead of course doing what I normally do is my show, unless I end up starting off later on, now I have to deal with something else because of Google and the message they end up sending me. So
Well, I don't get it. I don't understand what I've always sent you the stuff every morning. This is the great behind the scenes stuff that people love to hear about. So
Yep.
I send you all the Total Sports Prep stuff in the morning, and then you play it from your end because that's the little mini glitch we have here. You have to play it. I can't play it. I don't know. It just seems bizarre to me.
Yeah, and then I get a message from Google Workspace telling me that yeah, you need to contact your administrator. Blah blah. I'm the administrator. Whom? So I'm going to contact myself. I'm going to look in the mirror and talk to myself while I'm talking to Google. So it's just
What would you say to yourself?
I don't know. Everything was working. What the hell happened? It's just ridiculous.
So you cannot access any of your email?
No, nothing. So
So when you
I'm
go to
trying.
it, the last one I sent you, the new one, the last one I sent you, you can't even get in?
I'm even trying to look at that one to see if I can get in, and I can't even. Let me go back and see. I go to reopen it, and so I put in my password as usual, and then it'll show me like the older ones, like back from freaking Monday. But the one you even sent me now is not coming into that backup one that I sent to you, and it doesn't make any freaking sense. And everything.
Should I try it? Should I try it again?
Yeah, try it again and see what happens. But this is, I mean, oh, this is annoying because everything that I do on my primary email is now going to be a pain in the brewski to get everything from context, the whole 9 yards over. It's just such a pain. Good Lord, man. It's just been one of those mornings. See, I try to sign in as soon as I try to sign in on the default one, the one that I've been using for the longest, it'll tell me to, contact your administrator. I'm the freaking damn administrator.
Well, I'm sending it to the second one you gave me on your Gmail account.
Yep.
All right, let's see if this works. And then we'll get to the top 25 poll.
Holy crappies, man. What a morning. So I would say it could always end up being worse, but it's one of them goofy mornings where just when things go wrong, they just go wrong.
Sniffle. All right. Anywho. All right. Anyway, Angel, hopefully I've resent it. Hopefully you will get it. Let me know. Otherwise, we got plenty of video we can play. And other big guests coming up today at 8:30, Bill Sparrows from the Boston Herald, senior betting analyst at bookies.com at 8:30. And then Bill Burt at 9:05 from the Eagle Tribune. We'll start to talk a little bit about the Patriots and the Bengals. And what can anybody expect this week out of the Patriots? And we'll go through. There's a lot of NFL preview sound that hopefully once Angel gets Total Sports Prep, we'll be able to play. But got a lot of videos to play also. Some good stuff. Tom Brady on the herd. Belichick and Matt Patricia breaking down the Patriots offseason move on a podcast, which is interesting. Also, another Brady on another podcast talking about why Bill Belichick always had the Patriots prepared for every moment. It's a must listen there. Pat McAfee talking about the weekend, recapping the weekend in college football, the exciting weekend, more accolades for Cam Ward, Viney ripping Billy Napier and more. So it's there it is. And I tell you what, yesterday I was tuned in to Paul Feinbaum at 3:00 on TV on the SEC network. And at 3:20, around 3:20, he has a weekly Tuesday appearance with LSU coach Brian Kelly. Found it fascinating. I heard a lot of the same stuff that you heard in the press guy. It wasn't quite as bad as coach speak. Finey said he learned a lot. People afterwards were not buying it, especially the people from Louisiana were not buying it, that Brian Kelly said anything different than normal. I'm glad he, pounding the tape and all that. I mean, he's angry, showing passion, and I understand all that, but it still comes down to the execution on offense, which is, last year they had a very good offense. Their defense wasn't very good at all. Not that USC's was last year was terrible, but USC's was. I don't know if USC's defense was better or the lack of execution for LSU against USC the other night was the one that just was awful. Like I said, a bunch of times inside the 15, came away with 6 points total. That's it. But we'll get into that a little bit later on as well. The top 25 polls came out yesterday. So just go through them in the AP because they're a little bit different in the coaches poll, which again tells me, and a lot of times in the coaches poll, this happens in college football and basketball, that coaches, a lot of these coaches don't vote. They send some lackey in to do it. They don't take it seriously. And I'll give you my reasons why I think that's horse bleep for some of this stuff. So let's start with number 25. It's Clemson. They dropped 11 spots after getting crushed by Georgia, particularly in the second half yesterday. They're at 25. NC State is at 24. They stayed right where they were. Georgia Tech also at number 23. So that's 3 ACC teams in a row. Make it 4. The Georgia Tech wasn't ranked. Now they're up to 23. Louisville wasn't ranked. Now they're up to 22. So that's 4 ACC teams in a row at the bottom of the poll. Okay. Iowa jumps up 4 spots after their win. Number 20, Arizona jumps up 1 spot. Kansas, number 19, they jump up 3. LSU, after their losses, aforementioned loss to USC, they fall 5 spots to number 18. Kansas State moves up 1 spot to number 17. Oklahoma State up 1 spot to number 16. Oklahoma jumps up to number 15. They move up 1. Also moving up 1 is Tennessee. They had a creep up win, but they're up to number 14. Number 12, number 13 is USC. They jump up 10 spots. Really? You jump up 10 spots for beating LSU? 10 spots? They jump up to number 13. The Miami Hurricanes deserve to be, they jumped up 7 spots. They are now number 12. Utah, the Utes jump up 1 spot to number 11. Top 10, Michigan falls 1 spot for their semi-struggles with Fresno State. They won by 20, but that game did not get put away until the fourth quarter. But look, a win is a win. Sometimes a lot of these poll people get caught up in the sexiness of wins, and it definitely counts. They may tell you that winning by a certain amount or covering the spread doesn't matter. It matters. That's the reality. It matters. So Michigan is number 10. Missouri moves up 2 spots to number 9. Penn State stays idle despite their win. Actually, that was a very impressive win at West Virginia in front of a hostile environment. Penn State, though, does not move up. They stay at number 8. Oregon drops 4 spots after their uninspiring win. But nevertheless, it's one of those sexy, they didn't win by enough against a team they should have clobbered, but they drop 4 spots despite the win. Mississippi, Lane Kiffin's Rebels, they stay idle at number 6. Notre Dame, of course, moves up, and I don't mind that. They move up 2 spots to number 5 after their very impressive win at Texas A&M at College Station. Number 4, Arizona, they move up 1 spot. Alabama. They move up 1 spot after their clobbering win. Number 3, Texas, the same thing. They move up 1 spot to 3. Ohio State is 2. They stay idle. They get 5 first-place votes, and Georgia remains number 1 with 57 first-place votes. Just missing out. If there were continuing votes, number 26 would be Texas A&M. Boston College would be number 27. They should have been in the top 25. They should be there over Clemson. I'm sorry, and they probably should be there over Louisville as well. But I believe they'll get the Eagles coming in at number 27, then Boise State, Iowa State, Memphis, and so on and so forth. A little bit different in the coaches poll. Washington is in at number 25. See, this is the thing. And then you look at the coaches poll, and they don't have BC. BC got 7 votes. So the 26 and 27 teams in the coaches poll are Georgia Tech and Texas A&M, followed by Memphis, Kentucky, Boise State, SMU, Auburn, Wisconsin, Iowa State, Tulane, UNLV, Liberty, Maryland, Nebraska, and then BC. I mean, it's ridiculous that Boston College is not in the top 25 in both polls. It's ridiculous. And the fact that they're so way down in the coaches poll tells me that these people are not watching these games. And it's only week 1. Miami, they only have at number 15, which is ridiculous. They only moved up 4 spots. They have USC up ahead of them, which I don't understand. I really don't, how USC jumps ahead of them in the coaches poll. Anyway, yada, yada, yada. Georgia's number 1, 51 votes. Ohio State number 2 with 3 first-place votes. And then, even Texas got a first-place vote. They're 3rd. Alabama 4. They have Ole Miss at 5, and Oregon still 6. Notre Dame 7. Penn State 8. Michigan 9, and Missouri 10. So a pretty decent, some contrasting opinions there. So there's it's not matched all the way through. A lot of times it isn't in the coaches poll, but there's a lot of interesting stuff. But anyway, that's there's the poll. So the college football season will resume once again tomorrow, along with the NFL. We know Baltimore is going to be at Kansas City, but tomorrow we got. Let's see, is it tomorrow? Actually, is it Thursday? Friday, I should say. I thought I saw some games. Nope, they're going to let the NFL all alone. So Friday, the college football season will resume. Western Illinois and Indiana, BYU at SMU, which could be a very interesting game, and then Duke at Northwestern. Those are the 3 Friday games for you as well. And then a huge slate, which we'll get to a little bit later on for Saturday. Huge stuff, including Colorado at Nebraska. That'll be on the NBC Fox game of the NBC Big Ten game of the week on Fox coming up on Saturday night at 7:30. My Hurricanes play at 6 o'clock against Florida A&M. They should blow them out. That's only on the ACC network. And, of course, Michigan and Texas. That is the biggie coming up, with the Longhorns favored on the road by 7.5. Really interesting line. So on Friday, here's what I'm going to do for the rest of the season. I started off 4-1. So I'm keeping track of everything, and Angel can keep track or go back and play the tape if you don't, so I will keep track. On Fridays, I will do my 5 best college football games, what I feel the best college football games, and I will pick against the spread on Friday against every single game. Not winners, just against the spread. Same thing that I did last year, Angel, and did pretty well at the other network, going like 66, 67%. I will also have a best bet that includes college and pro. It could be a total. I'll give you my best bet for the week for college and the NFL. And then I'll also give you my underdog of the week, the underdog that I think can win outright. So that would be, we'll have that as well, my underdog of the week. And I'll keep track of all those numbers. I'll keep track of the college football. I'll keep track of the NFL. I'll keep track of the best bets. And I'll keep track of the underdog of the week as well. So 727-858-6650. That is the number, 727-858-6650. We had some pretty good thunder boom booms here yesterday around between 3:30 and 5:30. Unbelievable stuff. Again, incredible lightning. So how are you guys doing up there, Angel? I know more storms are coming in down here today between like 1:30 and 6, depending on where you are.
We had a round that came through. Oh God, I want to say like 3-ish, and then again around 7. I think it was more of a thunderstorm. Felt like the house had bass coming from the sky. How loud and crazy it was. But we're expecting some more today. The usual summer stuff, and then they're watching some system down below south of us that apparently is coming across, and one's going to turn north. So hopefully it'll keep going in a different direction. But yeah, storms they've been a little bit crazy, but not as much rain as we like in our neighborhood. It seems like it's a U shape around our house, called the Miami U. I don't know what it is, but either way, it keeps going around us. But Gas Pump Guy, by the way, says, "Good morning, fellas. Hope y'all have a great day. Can't wait to hear Bill." And then, yeah, Pete, you were killing it last year, man. You were doing really good. I mean, a couple of shekels off of you, LOL. You did last year.
Yeah, I did. No, I was killing it. I was like 67%. It was insane. My college stuff was even better. But yeah, I don't do a lock of the night anymore because but during football season on Thursdays, I'll give my opinions. Obviously, what I think is going to win. You can base that on shekels if you'd like, but Friday will be the big one. Do it every Friday, and I believe Friday is because I have to book everything. Angel does enough, so I take care of all the guests and everything else, and try to schedule as best I can people. So again, Bill Sparrow's coming up today for the Boston Herald and bookies.com, and we'll get his thoughts on the betting scene as well, and his thoughts about maybe some New England sports stuff. And then Bill Burrett will get into the Patriots and the Bengals a little bit coming up in Cincinnati. Coming up, my sheet, my secretary. Okay, so tomorrow we'll have at least Johnny Meter-Perrell at 9:05. He called the BC Florida State game. We'll get an ACC report out of him and his thoughts. And BC should be in the top 25 in both polls. They're not. Friday, My buddy Mike Adams, people might remember, one of the funniest people in Boston, used to do the nighttime show at WEI, now has his own podcast. I'm going to get Mikey on. I'm going to reciprocate and go on his show next Tuesday. So Mikey Adams, real funny guy. At 9:05, my buddy Trags, Mike Petralia from Cincinnati, always hysterical. We'll get his take from the Bengals standpoint, covers the Bengals and the Reds. At 9:30, it's either going to be Gabe Morency, my professional handicapper, who's just outstanding. He's been with me forever and ever. I've reached out to him. He hasn't got back to me yet. And Mia O'Brien, we're going to try to sneak her in as well on Fridays. Lots to talk about, obviously. I talked to her yesterday. She's been very busy. She's going to try to get on sometime on Friday. That's all I could say via video. So there you have it. All right, Angel, let's take our quick first break, and maybe we can recheck your email, see what we got. Otherwise, if you got the TSP, otherwise we'll just got some video and stuff, that more than enough stuff that we can play that will get us through here. It is the Pete Shepard Show on the Coastal Sports Network.
Hi, folks. This is Gerard Moynihan of Moynihan Lumber, and I would like you to know that our company has been selling Andersen windows for over 60 years. See the complete line of Andersen windows at any of our 3 locations in North Reading, Beverly, or in Plastown, New Hampshire, or at MoynihanLumber.com.
What's up, Southwest Florida? Jim and the Beef Guy here. Fort Myers, we answered your call. We're pumped to announce the opening of our second location. It's on 41 just north of the Edison Mall. And guys, nothing's changed here. The beef, the sausage, the breaded steak, our Maxwell Polish. Now serving you in 2 locations, Fort Myers and Bonita Springs. And don't forget, if you're having a party, check out our catering menu. And guys, when you're at the counter, don't call it gardenia. It's pronounced Jardiniere.
Ion Tampa Bay is the latest news, weather, and traffic for Pinellas, Pasco, Ellsboro, Hernando, and surrounding communities. Stay connected on X, Facebook, and their website, iontp.com. Ion Tampa Bay keeps you informed on breaking news as it happens. Southwest Florida's newest game in town. Sports Radio 102.9, the game powered by Ion Tampa Bay. We'll be right back.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting. A teenager. Learning the lingo.
Today I'm going to help parents translate teen slang. Now, when a teen says something is on fleek, it's exactly like saying, that's rad. It simply means that something is awesome or cool. Another one is totes. It's exactly like saying, totally, just shorter. As in, I totes love going to the mall with Becca. Another word you might hear is jelly. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will think you're, rad, just the same. To learn more, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
This is the story of a very special woman. In a matter of seconds, she turned herself into a great mathematician or an entrepreneur. Her knowledge was limitless and still is. She could also make monsters disappear, especially those that lurked in the shadows under the bed. Once, this woman put back together a teenage girl's broken heart, which had been shattered in 1,000 pieces, just by giving her a bear hug. She masqueraded as a regular person at work, but as a superhero at home. Everyone knows her as Gabriella. I still call her Mom.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need to help, complete with tips and resources at aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Hey, Dad, your prescription will be ready in just a minute. Hey, Dad, your laundry will be ready in just a minute. Dad, your lunch will be ready in just a minute.
Hey, honey, why don't you take a minute?
When you help care for a loved one, you give them as much time as you can, making sure they're safe and comfortable. But it's just as important that you take some time for yourself. At AARP, we can help with information and useful tips on how you can maintain a healthy life balance, care for your own physical and mental well-being, and manage the challenges of caring for a loved one. Because the better care you take of yourself, the better care you can provide for your loved one.
Thanks, Dad.
Thank you.
You're there for them. We're here for you. Find free care guides to support you and your loved one at aarp.org/caregiving. That's aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
All right, class, let's hear what everyone did this weekend. Jill?
Well, I raised my older sister to a big oak tree. It was at least 100 years old. My mom said I must have set a record or something. And then we went down by a stream and perched up on this huge rock and saw all of these little minnows swimming around way below us. And then I rescued my little brother from an evil slug king who was guarding him at the bush fortress. And my sister and I brought him back to our super twig fort for safety. And then we all laid out and told stories until it got dark. And the Big Dipper led us all the way home.
Wow. Awesome. Where were you, Jill?
Yeah. We went to the forest. It's not that far away. Anyone want to come this weekend?
Ask your parents to take you and your friends to the forest this week and find the fun, adventurous you. It's closer than you think. Check out discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
The Pete Shepherd Show. It's fun for the whole family, if it's dysfunctional.
Back here on the Pete Shepherd Show. It is a Hump Day Wednesday. How's everybody doing? Angel, I am checking my email. Is there something I'm supposed to be looking for? There's nothing that said it bounced back, if that's what you mean.
No, meaning that I send you a test one. I should say like test email to see if you got it.
Nope. Nothing yet. Nope.
Why is it? I wonder why is it taking freaking forever? Because I just sent you one saying a test to see if you end up getting that one. But holy crappies.
No, it's weird. Let me see. I want to make sure it didn't go to spam for some reason. Oh yeah, it did. It went to spam. Why would it do that?
I have no clue, but try to forward.
It says test.
Yeah. So do me a favor, forward the TSP to that one and see and I'll see if it comes through on this end.
But I don't know how to copy. I don't know how
or just so in your the TSP that comes to your email. See, that's the fun stuff, folks. So in your inbox where it has the TSP from Dustin.
Yeah.
All right. So there should be on your email when you're looking at it, if you hit new mail, or actually no, sorry, if you click on his email, there should be one when you get into it. It should say forward.
Well, yeah, that's what I do. I forward
Well, so then try to forward it to that same one.
I did. You're talking about your Gmail account one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've done that twice already.
Well, let's see.
I'll try now. Hang on.
It's the third time's a charm because it first. Hang on. I got it. It took forever, but Jesus Christ.
You got it?
Yeah, but hold on, because now I got to see if it actually. Holy craps. Dun, 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 dun.
While you're doing that, I'll read the Total Sports Prep. So while Angel's trying to figure that out, it is because it's not that. We love Total Sports Prep. They do an unbelievable job.
We sure do.
So again, for the best articles and audio, there's only one source that provides everything you need 365 days a year to satisfy your sports crave. It's Total Sports Prep. The staff combs through the best articles and audio so you don't have to. Sports and non-sports kicker stories will leave you laughing all day long. To get your free trial of Total Sports Prep, contact them. info@sportsbroadcastingcoach.com. That's info@sportsbroadcastingcoach.com. Total Sports Prep, the name says it all. All right. So you do have it?
I have it, but of course now it's the opening process. So give me 1 second. I swear it.
All right. Because there's a lot. They have some great NFL sound today as well. Meanwhile, the top 5 highest paid head coaches in the NFL. Andy Reid is number 1 with Kansas City, $25 million. Sean Payton is number 2 with Denver at $18 million. Jim Harbaugh is number 3 with the LA Chargers at $16 million. Sean McVay, number 4 at the Rams, $15 million, and Kyle Shanahan, 14 million with the San Francisco 49ers. And we've got some 49er news as well to tell you about. And when still hasn't loaded yet.
No, for some reason, it's getting to be annoying with Google. It really is getting to be annoying this morning with Google. As much as I like to praise them a lot of times for a lot of good stuff they end up doing, and they have certain mornings where they decide they want to do their nonsense. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to open up the way it normally opens. But today it decided, no, I don't want to open that way. I don't want to play nice. So now I'm just trying to see if I can do it a whole different way. So give me a second as I'm.
All right, no problem. Meanwhile, other NFL news with the 49ers after 40 days and 40 nights. Trent Williams' holdout is finally over. The star left tackle for San Fran yesterday, right as we were getting off the air, agreed to a restructured 3-year, $82.66 million deal. Includes a $48 million signing bonus, $25.69 million signing bonus, I should say. Will pay him a league-high $27.65 million for offensive linemen this season. That is the highest. So there you have it. Thank goodness. And then Brandon Ayuk, he had some interesting comments to say as well. I'm going to play that video for you whenever, not just yet, but in a little bit, as soon as Angel gets done. An interesting take going on in Cincinnati, speaking of the Patriots, Bengals, and Jamar Chase. And Justin Jefferson had a response to Jamar Chase, wanting to get one penny more than he did. We'll have that video for you. We've got Tom Brady on if he would start Drake May, Colin Cowherd. We have that. Bill Belichick and Matt Patricia. These are all going to be videos. It's awesome. Breaking down the Patriots offseason moves. We've got some other Brady stuff talking about Bill Belichick when he was must listen, how prepared they were going into every game on Sunday. And also some video from Pat McAfee's show yesterday. And the crew there, Kirk Herbstreit, and talking about Cam Ward, one of the biggest stories of the weekend, which I think everybody concurs with that. No question about it. Here on the Coastal Sports Network video platform, follow me at PShep326. Follow me on X, Twitter, Facebook, SR1029thegame.com, IONTV, CSN Florida, Rumble, Spotify, LinkedIn, Twitch, YouTube. Call or text 727-858-6650. How you doing, Angel? Load up yet?
I'm still trying to freaking get there.
All right, well, let's play. I'm going to play some video first then. Let's start with the first one right under the show if we could. On my Twitter page. And I just mentioned how Brandon Ayuk admitted he made negotiations difficult. Well, here he is talking about it yesterday. I know, he just got a million things going on. Needs 4 or 5 more hands.
I sure as hell do. It's getting to the point where it's just absolutely nuts. But as always, I try to make things work. Here's coming up with
Brad. Thanks.
Wednesday before, I think John and Kyle didn't expect you to be at practice. They were sounding very frustrated. What John said at that time, that once things get done, it's like kind of everything is forgotten. I don't know if you felt any bruised feelings during this time, but is it true? Like once everything's done, you're like, I love you all.
I think I'm not gonna lie, I made it a little bit more difficult than it needed to at the end. But yeah, it was. I mean, it was like that from. I'm not gonna say the whole entire time, but for about the past month, I think we were pretty good.
Wednesday before, I think John and Kyle didn't expect you to be at practice. They were
all right. And so there you have it. Brandon, now you're talking about it. About it made it a little bit more difficult. You asked yesterday if he and the Niners can move past the back and forth that led to the 4-year, $120 million contract extension he signed on Friday. Ayuk acknowledged the role he played is extending the negotiations. So that's what it is. It's done. And hopefully let bygones be guided. It's not personal, Sonny. It's only business. So there you have it. There you have it, Brandon Ayuk. I want to get as much of this stuff into it because it really, when I have two guests on at 8:30 and 9 o'clock, so we fly through and I want people to play a lot of this stuff. So I want to get a lot of this stuff in that you normally wouldn't get to see or you'd miss, because that's why we love the video platform here. And that's why Angel does such a great job. I've got a lot of preview sound from Total Sports Rep, which we're going to get to some of it. But a lot of it, we have the same audio, but I like to show you via video as well. All right, let's just go in order here. Interesting stuff. Right down below, under Mr. Aiyuk, is on the Up and Adams show with Kay Adams, who's awesome. Another idiotic move by ESPN letting her go. Justin Jefferson responded to Jamar Chase wanting to get one more penny, Angel, than he did. Here's his response.
Oh boy.
I haven't really talked to him about it too much, but I'm pretty sure or confident that he's gonna, be about his business and show when he needs to show up. And I mean, I hope that he gets the deal and hope that he gets the contract that he's looking for. But I also hope that he plays it smart and not let it get in the way of his greatness and being on that field.
It's really well said. Let's look ahead. He gets paid. He gets a penny more than you. What does the text to him say?
I'm not gonna say what I really want to say, but I mean, it's always congratulations. It's always love, especially on my end, about my brothers that is making good in this league and making a name for themselves. And I mean, we always talked about that. We always talked about it in the receiver room at LSU, and said that we were able to be on that same platform as some of the top guys that were in the league while we were watching the film at LSU. So to see it all come to life and for us to fulfill our dreams is definitely heartwarming.
All right, interesting stuff there with Kay Adams and Up and Adams. She's on DraftKings, the DraftKings show every morning. You can see her on TV or whenever it is. I can't remember. I think she's on in the morning. She's terrific.
Yep,
great girl. There's another. There are a lot of rumors out there concerning Jamar Chase that if he doesn't get this thing done by like Friday, that he ain't playing for a while. No, I don't know if that's going to be true. I still think the Bengals, who are known to be a pretty cheap organization lately, I mean, they got to get it done. They got to get it done. I hope they don't. For the Patriots' sake, I hope they don't. That's one less weapon they have to worry about for the Bengals. But for my sake, I hope they don't. It might be true that Boston College's offensive line is better than the Patriots. That's somebody throw that out there tongue in cheek. It may not be all that wrong. I'm kidding, but I mean, seriously. All right, let's keep going. Right underneath that, speaking of the Patriots, Tom Brady with Colin Cowherd on the Herd yesterday on FS1, because now Tom works for Fox. You're going to see him on a lot of Fox stuff. Talked about would he start Drake May?
Drake May, would you sit him? I don't think there's a right answer. Would you sit him, or would you put his feet to the fire and let it rip?
So, I mean, I've gone on record to say that I think it's best, in my opinion, for young quarterbacks and rookie quarterbacks to kind of watch a veteran do it. And there's so much that goes on, and quarterbacks need to process so much information so quickly. And I think if you can have someone, I sat behind Drew Bledsoe my first year, what a great player he was, someone that I got to watch and learn from. Aaron Rodgers watched behind Brett Favre. Patrick Mahomes watched behind Alex Smith. So when you have a real pro in front of you, they can help with that learning curve, even though that young quarterback isn't necessarily going out there and losing confidence in what his abilities are. So, ultimately those young players are going to get opportunities. The franchises need those young quarterbacks to come in and take a big step and lead that franchise on into the future.
Right.
I just like to give them a little bit of time to acclimate themselves to the pro game, the pro schedule. I mean, it's a big difference between college football and professional football.
All right. Interesting take there by Tom. And no question, and having covered the team all his years they were there, no question his rookie year in 2000 that he wasn't ready, but they kept him on as a fourth string quarterback. Of course, he was used to that because he was a seventh stringer at one point at Michigan. But clearly his attitude was completely different. Not that his attitude was good, but he only got to play a couple of snaps and on on Thanksgiving Day against the Lions. The Lions really beat them up badly. But the start in camp, you knew that he had made significant improvements to his game. Just seeing it in camp. That's why I thought, despite the Mo Lewis hit, it was going to be much sooner rather than later, that Tom Brady was going to take over the Patriots. And he did, and the rest is history. Now, right under that, this is really interesting. How about this? Bill Belichick and Matt Patricia. Now, Matt Patricia, for those of you who don't know, he was the defensive coordinator for the Patriots, and he was the head coach of the Lions. He's a weird type of guy. He's a brilliant man, MIT. Rain Man type. I mean, he's really brilliant. He's just not. He just is a sucky head coach. He was a pretty good defensive coordinator, at times a very good defensive coordinator. As a head coach, out of his league, and that's why he is out of the league right now. But as an analyst with Bill, I think there's some interesting stuff here. Bill Belichick, Matt Patricia, breaking down. On the Underdog Fantasy Podcast, breaking down the Patriots off-season moves.
You can really see, they did resign a lot of the players that we had, brought there and had there, as they obviously liked those guys. And then, a couple players that they didn't resign.
Well, Bourne re-signing, Onwenu re-signing. Stevenson had a year to go. They extended him. Henry was a re-signing. He's been a solid leader for him. Gottschall, they did, during training camp. Barmore was an extension in the offseason. He doesn't look like he's going to play very much this year. Tavai is an extension. Duggar was a transition player, and Josh Uche. The guy that's not on that list, of course, is Matt Judon. Matt Judon was traded down to Atlanta, and so that'll provide an opportunity for Uche, Tavai, and Jennings to take that spot that, Judon would have had a lot of playing time at. So, we'll see how those guys do. But, a lot of guys came back. The additions were mainly draft choices.
Yeah, and obviously Judon, a guy that we really liked and we enjoyed being around a lot. Good football player, very productive football player. So, these guys are going to have to step in and try to, fill that production out on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah, good stuff. Matt Patricia, if you noticed, you may not recognize him without that full ZZ Top beard. Not quite as pronounced, but nevertheless. So that's good stuff there. And if we could scroll down two more, because I want to get a lot of this stuff in. This is Tom Brady on another podcast. This is with Stephen A. I think why Bill Belichick always had the Patriots prepared for every moment.
And I think that's where Bill was actually so great. And no one saw him in those moments like we did. In Saturday night, we were so prepared and so focused. We were the opposite of tight.
Really?
We were always relaxed because we had the answers to the test. I knew that I went through the call sheet. And let's say we had 150 calls on the call sheet.
Jesus.
There was a meeting at a squad meeting at 8 o'clock. I would meet with the quarterback starting at 6:30 and the offense coordinator. We'd go through every single play on the call sheet, and we'd do exactly what we did. Okay, this is a play. This is the run. What's the one thing that could mess this run up? Oh, a safety blitz off the right side. Okay, great. What do you want to do if that happens? So I'd walk to the line of scrimmage. That call was made. I'd break the huddle. I'd look to the line of scrimmage. I'd say, okay, the only problem I have on this play is if the safety's blitzing off the right side. And then I would just look for it. Oh, and he only did it, let's say, 5% of the time. So most coaches would just say, just run the play, whatever. If they get lucky and call at the same time, one for them. And that's not how I played, because that one play could mean everything.
Right.
So I would say, no. If it's a 5% chance it could happen, I would tell the line, okay, if this guy's blitz, this is what I'm doing. I'm going to check to this play called Wolf or called Beetle or called Python, whatever we wanted to call it. This is what I'm going to do. Or I'm going to check to a screen, Liz, Rip. I'm going to change the protection and go to Greta or Grape.
It's just fascinating stuff to me when you hear quarterbacks like Tom Brady and Peyton Manning on the ManningCast, or you hear Peyton and Eli and their guests, and when they really start getting into the X's and O's of football. Now, you can't sit here on a 4-hour talk show and do that stuff all day because you bore the shit out of people. But man, when you start hearing that, and I told you, I was really lucky many years ago, 20 years ago, Bill Belichick in Foxborough had invited all the regular media that covered the team into a legitimate coaching session where he did exactly for 45 minutes what he would do with the team after a game. And I forget whatever game it was, breaking it down. It was fascinating beyond belief. To be in that room and to watch him break down stuff here and there, this, that, was absolutely amazing. something I'll never forget. It's really one of the highlights of being in this business for 38 years. That is, besides, I'm not counting Super Bowls, being at and other championships and Stanley Cups and World Series and all that, which were all fantastic. But as far as moments outside of covering a game, that's going to be in my top 3. It was absolutely fascinating. And another one in my top 3 was also involved. I got to be in a room with Bill. I think I told you this before. The Patriots were playing the Eagles exhibition game in Foxborough on a Thursday night. I think it was their opening game. So I actually was on vacation, but I wasn't going to miss this because he wanted me. I got to I forget what it was. Somebody won a prize where they could go into Bill's office, get a little 15-minute tutoring session on coaching and stuff like that. I got to be there, and then they got to, and it was a mother, a father, and about a 14-year-old boy. They got to call the first play of the game. I don't know if I told you this story before, Angel. It's funny, but this was 2008 because it was the second year of Randy Moss, and so I get to be there, and the family comes in, and Bill and I were talking a little bit before, and then in his office, and he doesn't have this didn't have this over the top fancy office. He said, a couple of television screens and a lot of books, and that was about it. Bill was pretty, black and white kind of guy. No, and we were talking and goofing and sharing some funny stories about radio and TV and stuff like that. And then the family came in, and he gets right into it. He's like, was very accommodating. Gets the family in. He starts talking about the game, a game from the previous year. And he was breaking down. He just broke down 2 plays, but it took like 15 minutes. He was showing the entire family, mother, son, and father, everything that was going on, all the stuff like Tom was saying. And then, I told Bill before this even happened, they were going to get to pick the first play of the game. And he said, Pete, what do you think? He said, what do you think they're going to be? I said, Bill, they're going to do something. I said, what's going to be something like a double reverse flea flicker, something like that. They're going to want some kind of, show. He's like, you think? I said, yeah. He goes, you don't think they, want whoever it was, such and such running up the middle? I go, no way. I said, Bill, they're going to want a trick play. Sure as shit. So we get done with the tutoring because it's 20 minutes now. And okay, now you guys get to pick the first play of the game. So they pick it. And it's what I thought. They wanted a flea flicker, not a reverse. They just wanted a flea flicker. Bill talked them out of it. And it's like, and they wanted Moss. They wanted a wide receiver flea flicker where Moss threw the ball. How about that? That's what it was. Some sort of a trick play. They wanted Randy Moss to throw the ball. And Bill's like, well, we could do that, but I'd rather not. We'll get Randy involved, but whatever. So anyway, yada yada yada. They run Randy on a wide receiver, coming through in motion, a wide receiver end around. That went for -2 yards. So but I remember being up in the booth watching it. I said, yep, what's this first play? It's going to be Randy Moss on an end around. Nope. -2 plays. And that was that. But anyway, funny stuff. All right, Angel, time for another quick break here. Do we have Total Sports Prep? Do we have some of that? Do you have access to that?
During the break, I'm going to see if I can get it to freaking work because it's been a pain in the keister.
All right. If not, I can try to resend it again. Otherwise, some more college football stuff. Deion Sanders with some praise for Matt Rule in Nebraska. We'll get to that. Some more college football news as well. Red Sox report coming up at 8:15. Bill Spiros, Boston Herald, and Bookies.com at 8:30 a.m. Bill Burke from the Eagle Tribune at 9:05 a.m. All part of the Pete Shepard Show here on a Hump Day Wednesday on the Coastal Sports Network.
Hi, folks. This is Gerard Moynihan of Moynihan Lumber, and I would like you to know that our company has been selling Anderson windows for over 60 years. See the complete line of Anderson windows at any of our 3 locations in North Reading, Beverly, or in Plastown, New Hampshire, or at MoynihanLumber.com.
What's up, Southwest Florida? Jim and the Beef Guy here. Fort Myers, we answered your call. We're pumped to announce the opening of our 2nd location. It's on 41 just north of the Edison Mall. And guys, nothing's changed here. The beef, the sausage, the breaded steak, our Maxwell Polish, now serving you in 2 locations, Fort Myers and Bonita Springs. And don't forget, if you're having a party, check out our catering menu.
Hey guys, when you're at the counter, don't call it gardenia. It's pronounced Chardonnay.
To some people, the sound of a baby babbling doesn't mean much. But that's not necessarily true. By 6 months, they're combining vowels and consonants. By 9 months, they're trying out different kinds of sounds. And by 12 months, their babbling is beginning to take on some meaning. Especially if there's no babbling at all. Little to no babbling by 12 months or later is just one of the possible signs of autism in children. Early screening and intervention can make a lifetime of difference and unlock a world of possibilities. Take the first step at autismspeaks.org. A public service announcement brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
The following is made possible by Dad.
Why was the basketball court all wet? Because the players kept dribbling all over it.
The dad joke. Corny, grown-worthy, but also one of the simplest ways to share a moment with your kids.
Why do you have to be careful when it's raining cats and dogs? Because you might step in a poodle.
And kids that spend more time with their dads grow up to be smarter, more successful.
Can I tell you a cat joke? Just kidding.
And with any luck, funnier adults.
Why didn't the skeleton go to the dance? Because he didn't have anybody to go with.
Dad jokes rule. So take a moment to make a moment and give your kid a laugh. It's as easy as going to fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
That's really funny.
Okay, men, this is your time. Maybe you didn't choose this, but you're here now. You're gonna go out there and be an all-star caregiver. It's up to you. So what are you gonna do? You're gonna go grocery shopping, cook, clean, be there emotionally and physically. You gotta dig deeper. Drive them to physical therapy, doctor's appointments. Don't you forget about the pharmacy. I know you won't, because that's what caregivers do. Don't give up. Don't ever give up. This is your time to show the world, your family, and yourself that you're tougher than tough. Now go out there and be the best caregiver this world has ever seen. Caregiving is tougher than tough. Find the care guides you need at aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Danica Patrick and proud aunt. Watching my nieces grow, play, and learn is amazing. But not every child gets to be carefree. 1 in 6 kids in the U.S. are hungry. 1 in 6. That little girl sitting alone at the playground, she can't play like the other kids. She doesn't have the energy because she's hungry. School lunch will be her only meal today. It breaks my heart that this is the reality in our country, but it's something that Feeding America is working to change. Each year, the Feeding America network of food banks rescues billions of pounds of good food that would have gone to waste. This food is then provided to families and children in need. Being a kid should be about using your imagination, learning, and having fun. These children shouldn't have to miss out on simply being a kid because they're hungry. To find out how you can help end childhood hunger in your community, visit feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Don't spaz out because your team lost. Let Pete do it for you. Now, back to the Pete Shepherd Show.
Yeah, that drum that I did this morning is spazzed out.
Welcome back. Hour number 2 already of the Pete Shepherd Show here on the Hump Day Wednesday, September 4th on the Coastal Sports Network. I am me. He is Angel. And hopefully Angel Martinez, executive producer, host extraordinaire, will have his show on later today. Martinez accompanied back on a Hump Day Wednesday. So, did you achieve détente as far as TSP sound during the break?
Okay, so we.
Sounds like a no.
I think I may be able to backdoor it. So when you tell me the one that you want, I'll have to do basically an extra step that I normally don't have to do, but I should be able to get it.
All right. Well, I want to play this, if we could, before we get to Total Sports Prep stuff and Baltimore, Kansas City preview coming up Thursday. I've also got some highlights, if we get to it, from Green Bay to Philadelphia and Brazil, where it seems like more and more people don't want to go. Tennessee at Chicago. I got some highlights from that. Philadelphia at Atlanta as well. Minnesota and the Giants. And we'll start afterwards. We're going to start with Deion Sanders. If we could, Angel, go to ESPN and NCAA football. It is Deion's. It's the third story down. Sorry, second story down. Deion adopts new tack before Nebraska game. Has a lot of praise for Matt Rule. I know you're going to have to play a commercial and all that stuff before. And then we're going to go to, after that, we're going to go to Total Sports Prep and scroll all the way down to college football in the same theme as What's Right with Nick Wright podcast. And he is not a believer in anything that people are talking about with the Colorado Buffaloes. But so you see that, you see the Deion thing, Angel?
Hang on.
All right.
The commercial actually, for the first time, it actually blew through quick.
Wow.
Yeah, normally it's a forever process, but
sometimes it's 15 seconds. You may get lucky; it's a 15-second one, not a 30-second one.
Yep.
So
here's Deion.
Ton of respect for Matt Rule. He's in, I call it our class of coaches. We all, took on a tremendous test that year, along with Coach Dillingham and several others. So I feel like we're a fraternity. So I root for that class of head coaches that came in that year. He was a professional, did a phenomenal job, maybe not the job that he aspired to do, but he has a ton of experience, and I love what he's accomplished in his college coaching career. So I look for them to be physically tough and imposing, and try to run the football. They have a freshman quarterback that had a pretty good day last week, but we got to do what we do. We got to go in there and do what we're capable of doing. And I think we showed the glimpses of that in the second half of our first game against a formidable opponent.
All right, Deion Sanders there, right there.
I didn't have to spend my life trying to find my calling.
Again, different approach that he took last year ahead of the Nebraska game. He proclaimed, quote, "This is personal." That's the message of the week. This is personal. And Colorado went out and put a whipping on Nebraska last year. They did, 36-14. Shedeur Sanders said he took issue with Matt Rule and several Nebraska players standing on the Buffaloes logo at midfield before the game. Yeah, see, that kind of nonsense. I don't know. That's like, to me, that crap gets way overplayed.
Can we also listen, I think Deion, he's a great man, don't get me wrong. Some of the stuff I don't agree with, but we're entitled to our own opinions. Can we just get rid of the sunglasses when we're doing a conference?
He won't do it because it's his brand. He thinks he's making money off of it. He thinks people looking at him on that stage are going to pay money for the sunglasses. I think it's unprofessional and it's ridiculous. I think it's ridiculous. We all know the reason why he's doing it. He's just, I hope they lose by 50. Shedeur Sanders also said after the game he felt last year that Rule had been disrespectful with comments he made in the offseason about not wanting to be followed around by cameras, a perceived swipe at Sanders of Colorado. He said, "The coach said a lot of things about my pops, about the program, but now that he wants to act nice, I don't respect that because you're hating on another man. You shouldn't do that, hating on another man, please."
Okay.
It was just all respect was gone for them and their program. I like playing against their DC. I like playing against them, but the respect level, it ain't there because you disrespect us for us. Oh, knock that shit off. Jesus, grow up. After both teams finished with losing records last year, the animosity appeared to die down. Rule was a professional, did a phenomenal job. Coach Sanderson, you just heard, maybe not the job that he aspired to do, but he has a lot of experience, and I love what he's accomplished in his college coaching career. So Colorado won a season opener against North Dakota State, barely a FCS school, 31-26. And Nebraska thumped UTEP 40-7. And Nebraska is favored this week at home. What is it? They are favored by, I believe, that is the big game on Fox on Saturday night with Catherine Tappan and Monsieur Eagle and Monsieur Blackledge. Yeah, 7:30, and that line right now, Nebraska is favored by 7.5 at home. The total is 58.5. And I will have an opinion on that game on Friday as well. This is one of those head over heart type things. Got to look at matchups. As much as I want to see Colorado get blasted in this game, do I think they're going to win the game? No. But can they cover? Well, you have to wait until Friday. Right now, I'm leaning towards that they will, and it can't be basing on what happened last year. But I got to say, this Nebraska team is going to surprise some people this year. Matt Rule has done an amazing job recruiting. Okay, now if we could, Angel, if we go to Total Sports Prep, if you can, and down to the college football, it's way down there, right before the MLB scores. It's just one. It's under Texas and Michigan, but it really has nothing to do with that. It's Nick Wright talking about the hype of the Colorado Buffaloes. He's not buying into it, nor am I. Nor should you. Yes, for the MLB highlights, which is just as good because we're going to do
the Colorado thing is very simple in that it really does seem like it's rinse repeat from last year. Your quarterback is a star. You might have the best player in the entire country in Travis Hunter, and Jimmy Horn Jr. is awesome, and the rest of your team stinks. I don't know how they're going to be able to compete. Oh, one other note. People send me tweets saying it doesn't look like USC miss Caleb Williams that much. If USC football during Caleb's career allowed 20 points every single game he played, how many games do you think Caleb would have lost?
Probably none.
The answer is one. There was one game his whole career that if the defense would have done against just random teams what they were able to do against LSU, they would have lost. And that was a game they actually won against Oregon State. Last year, a team that went 7-5 would have been undefeated if they had allowed 20 points in every single game. So save your Caleb slander for someone else.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. But also, I'm going the other direction with LSU. It was their ineptness unable to finish. It's not like USC put up these goal line stances and all this crap. It's the lack of execution by LSU. 3 times inside the 15 to come away with 6 points. That is absolutely ridiculous for the talent that's on that team. It's unacceptable. You heard Brian Kelly say it yesterday. I heard him reiterate it again. It's absolutely unacceptable. All right, Angel, if we go back to my Twitter page, I know you're doing a whole bunch of things, and scroll down. Some more college football stuff yesterday. It was right under the Tom Brady, Bill Belichick must-listen thing from ESPN. Kirk Herbstreit, Pat McAfee, Kirk Herbstreit talking about Cam Ward, or what was the most exciting part of the weekend, or biggest surprise, biggest stories of the weekend.
Yeah,
this was on Pat McAfee's show yesterday. Yes, that's it.
I think Cam Ward was probably one of the biggest stories of the entire weekend.
That's it.
Miami hasn't had a quarterback, in my opinion, that was an alpha like this since Ken Dorsey back in the era of A.J. Hawk, going way back to like 2002, 2003. So you're talking over 20 years since they've had a quarterback that takes control. We're going to find a way to win this. And they're physical, on both sides of the ball, just beat up the Gators in the swamp. So that kind of gets you really excited about what Miami's doing. I think Cam Ward was probably one of the biggest.
No question. And the Canes have their cream puff game this year, coming up on at Hard Rock, 6 o'clock on ACC Network. Florida A&M, they should blast them. Then they're home against Ball State. That'll be on the 14th at 3:30 on the ACC Network. They should beat them senseless. And then they're kind of their for that they already had a great test. Obviously, winning in the Swamp in Florida is just that's an awesome test, and clobbered them. Then at South Florida, and I believe South Florida will be coming off the. What do they have? They have Alabama this week. They have Alabama this week.
Yeah.
South Florida does. So the. I just want to see South Florida. Make sure I get their schedule right, because so they're in Alabama this week. Good. Now remember last year. Remember the game in Tampa last year, right? Ray J. Alabama and Tampa. Remember the massive storms and everything else, and South Florida was winning that game. They gave Alabama all they could handle till the very end. The rain. Remember it was delayed, Angel, like 3 or 4 times at Ray J. It was crazy.
Yep.
So they will play. Then they're at Southern Miss on the 14th, and then they will host Miami at Ray J coming up on the 21st. So 1, 2, Miami. I'm going to say they win that game. 1, 2, 3, 4. They'll be 4-0. Home against Virginia Tech. I don't know what that was against Virginia Tech, or Vanderbilt is just that improved, but that was one of the bigger upsets because people have been touting Virginia Tech all year in the ACC, and it didn't happen. They were outplayed. I saw a lot of the highlights of that game against Vandy. And then Miami's at California, then home against Louisville, home against Florida State, home against Duke, at Georgia Tech, home against Wake, and then they end at Syracuse. So they have a great chance. It's just amazing the narrative that people have now on the Hurricanes, because beginning of the season, they have to. It was all based on what happened last year and the last couple of years, and they didn't want to have faith, or they didn't understand how the impact of Cam Ward, what he was going to be. And people had them in some minor bowl, and now people have them winning the ACC and getting a first-round bye, which I do think will happen. But it's just amazing week to week how the narrative changes among the national media. All right, Angel, if we may, let's do some baseball here, and then we'll try to sneak some football in as well. It is now time for let's see. I just went by it. Here we go. Time now for the Red Sox Report, which is brought to you by, every day at this time at 8:15, Moynihan Lumber. Check out their complete line of Anderson windows at any of their 3 locations in Beverly, North Reading, Massachusetts, and Plastow, New Hampshire. Not a good night again for the Red Sox as well, losing to the Mets by a score of 7-2. If we could play cut number 3, Angel, Mark Vientos, homer in the bottom of the 7th.
Rookie right-hander Justin Slayton in to pitch to Mark Vientos. And the breaking ball hit deep to center. Back goes Duran near the wall. It's out of here. Mark Vientos with his 22nd home run of the year. He got all over that slider and hit it a mile. 3-1 New York. I mean, what a season. His power from left center to right center is just unbelievable.
Gary Cohen, I think Keith Hernandez. I know Keith Hernandez there on the call on SNY. And the next cut, Angel, right below that, Pete Alonso joins the party in the bottom of the 8th inning.
Now Pete Alonso had a base hit his last time up to snap an 0-for-11 stretch. And Pete hits one deep to center field. Back goes Duran to the warning track at the wall. It's out of here! Pete Alonso puts the hammer down. Number 31 for Pete. 7-2 New York. The Mets salted away with 4 in the bottom of the 8th. Alonso putting the icing on the cake.
Yep, that was the final. Gary Cohen with the call there on SNY. Yes, the final 7-2. The Mets over the Red Sox. Their 6th straight win. They remain a half game out in the wild card race. David Peterson struck out a career high 11 on his 29th birthday, by the way. And as you heard, Francisco Lindor drove in 3 runs. The Mets beat the slumping Red Sox for their 6th straight win. Lindor launched his 30th homer and added a pivotal RBI double, drawing another chorus of MVP chants from the Citi Field crowd. Pete Alonso, as you heard, and Mark Vientos also went yard for the Mets. They remain a half game behind Atlanta for the final National League wild card. They've won 13 of 18 overall, improving to a Major League best 53-31 since May 30th. How about that? Peterson is now 9-1, pitched 6 awesome innings, allowing 1 run, lowering his ERA to 2.75, winning his 4th consecutive decision. All 6 hits off the left-hander were singles, and many of them, thinky little league soft hits. Earlier in the game, by the way, he threw a career-best 16 consecutive strikes at the first 4 innings, zipped by in 59 minutes. Gotta love that. Mets, by the way, 14-3 in Peterson's start since he made his season debut on May 29th after coming off of surgery. The Red Sox still 4.5 behind Kansas City for the American League playoff berth, the last one. In the trainer's room, Trevor Story sidelined since April 6th by a dislocated left shoulder. Could be close to coming off the injured list. He had a scheduled day off at AAA Worcester after playing 5 innings on Monday in his second rehab game and first appearance at shortstop. He's expected to play shortstop again Wednesday. Doesn't necessarily need to play 9 innings there before rejoining the Red Sox. Up next, all-star right-handed pitcher Tanner Houck. 8-9 on the year, 3.12 ERA. He will face Mets right-handed pitcher Tyler McGill, who's 3-5 with a 4.82 in the series finale tonight. McGill returned from the minors last Friday and earned a 5-1 victory over the lowly White Sox, striking out 6 in 5 1/3 innings. So there you have it. There's your Red Sox report. As always, brought to you by Moynihan Lumber. Check out the complete line of Anderson windows and doors at any of the 3 locations in Beverly, North Reading, Massachusetts, and Plastown, New Hampshire. All right, Angel, I might ask you for another cut or two here on the baseball stuff. MLB last night, also Pittsburgh blanking Chicago 5-0. Paul Skeens battled, not his best, but went 5 innings, threw a shutout. And I think it's the first Pirate pitcher with whatever. I mean, he had 176 strikeouts since like the 1800s, some ridiculous number I saw. The White Sox failed to score none. They lose to Baltimore 9-0. But let's see. There was here we go. The highlight of the game was cut number 2, Angel. If we can play cut number 2 from the Baltimore White Sox game.
That was pretty good, even though I lost the game. And then I went on to win 14 in a row and 19 of my next 20, and things kind of turned around as the season moved along. So, yeah, it was that little thing that the manager said.
Oh, sorry, Steve.
And that's it.
It looks like Grady Sizemore has been tossed, and he is hot. He said 2 nights in a row, you are squeezing the strike zone of my guys. And you know what? Grady's right. It's been a bad night for Hunter Wendelstedt.
Hunter's getting up in Grady's face.
Oh, he gave him an F-bomb.
Well,
what a shock.
Hunter, we can read lips, my man. Grady Sizemore sticking up for his guys.
Sometimes that can put a charge into the ball club. I mean, you got to go out there occasionally and get run. But watch the last pitch. Yeah, that is way up and out of the zone. And I think Benintendi, that's happened a couple of times. And Grady said, look. He knows when he comes out and does that, he's going to get run. But he figures he's got to do that.
First time for interim manager Grady Sizemore getting tossed out of a ball game.
Yeah, as a manager.
Correct.
Yeah. And you can't blame him. This has not been the greatest night for Hunter.
Well, you can say what you want, Angel. But here's the thing. Yeah, I've seen some of the highlights. I understand. Not a great night for Hunter Wendelstedt, the umpire. We'll get Ozzie Guillen's thoughts out in a second. But cut number 1, Angel. This was it was a 4-0 game in the second inning until the Bad News Bears, aka the Chicago White Sox, struck again. And I don't know how three guys ended up in the hospital. I don't have the video for you, but this sums up the White Sox season right here on this play in the second inning yesterday.
To be something that people see all the time. Yeah, and the truth is, if you have great stuff, you can challenge over the white part of the plate a little bit more, let your stuff just play. If you don't, you better figure out.
Oh, no! Oh, my goodness, the White Sox have just gone full White Sox. And Eloy Jimenez pop-up ends in a collision. Miguel Vargas is down with his face in his glove. 3 runs have scored.
You see that video? It's amazing. Vargas. Remember, it was in the opposite episode. He was the Newman Vargas. But luckily, nobody got seriously hurt in that one. Anyway, White Sox lose 9-0 to Baltimore. Texas over the Yankees by a score of 7-4. Philadelphia. Oh, this was a great one. Man, the guy Kyle Schwarber does it again. Let's just play the cut, Angel, the cut number 1. 3 homers in the game. Here's number 3.
And a high fly ball to deep right field. They've come all the way back. A 3-run missile. Kyle Schwarber's 3rd home run of the night. And the Phillies finally get that clutch hit with a runner in scoring position. They have taken the lead here in the 9th, 10-8.
Holy moly.
That is unbelievable.
You talk about making a statement. I mean, they kept going after him. I just couldn't believe why they were throwing so many strikes, and he jumped all over this. This ball is launched out to right. No doubter. What a night.
3 home runs. He's done that before this year as well. Philly beats Toronto 10-9. And by the way, Angel, I had a picture in my head. It's like when Doc Brown and the flux capacitor. And I did not fall off my toilet. I just have this feeling that Philadelphia is going to play the Mets at some point in the playoffs this year. And that is going to be fun. Yep. That is going to be fun. I think the Mets are going to pull it out and make it. Cleveland beat Kansas City, helps the Red Sox. What little hope they have left, 7-1. Arizona beat San Fran 8-7. Atlanta over Colorado 3-0. And 12, St. Louis over Milwaukee 7-4. Washington beat Miami 6-2. Tampa Bay did Minnesota 2-1. I think the Twins are 2-3 against the Rays this year, and they've lost every game by a run. Oakland, another walk-off home run, beats Seattle 3-2. Dodgers over the Angels 6-2 in 10 innings. Mookie Betts had a big 3-run homer in the 10th inning there. And there you have it. There's your MLB rundown. All right, Angel, let's do it. Let's take another quick break here. And when we come back, my first guest of the day, Bill Sparrows from Bookies.com, senior betting analyst, and the Boston Herald is going to join me. We have a lot to discuss right here on the Pete Shepard Show, continuing on Hump Day Wednesday on the Coastal Sports Network.
Hi, folks. This is Gerard Moynihan of Moynihan Lumber, and I would like you to know that our company has been selling Andersen windows for over 60 years. See the complete line of Andersen windows at any of our 3 locations in North Reading, Beverly, or in Plastown, New Hampshire, or at MoynihanLumber.com.
What's up, Southwest Florida? Chicken and Beef Guy here. Fort Myers, we answered your call. We're pumped to announce the opening of our 2nd location. It's on 41 just north of the Edison Mall. And guys, nothing's changed here. The beef, the sausage, the breaded steak, our Maxwell Polish, now serving you in 2 locations, Fort Myers and Bonita Springs. And don't forget, if you're having a party, check out our catering menu.
Hey guys, when you're at the counter, don't call it Gardenia. It's pronounced Jardiniere.
Ion Tampa Bay is the latest news, weather, and traffic for Pinellas, Pasco, Ellsboro, Hernando, and surrounding communities. Stay connected on X, Facebook, and their website, iontp.com. Ion Tampa Bay keeps you informed on breaking news as it happens. Southwest Florida's newest game in town. Sports Radio 102.9, the game powered by Ion Tampa Bay. We'll be right back.
Right now, our country feels divided, but there's a place where people are coming together.
I gotta tell you, I was nervous to talk to someone so different than me.
Me too, but I'm glad we are.
Love Has No Labels and One Small Step are helping people with different political views, beliefs, and life experiences come together through conversation, and it feels good.
Wow, your story is so...
Interesting?
Yeah.
When people actually sit down, talk, and listen to one another, they can break down boundaries and connect as human beings. At lovehasnolabels.com/onesmallstep, you can listen to amazing, life-changing conversations and find simple tools to start a conversation of your own.
I know one thing. This conversation gives me hope.
It gives me a lot of hope, too.
Take a step toward bringing our country and your community together by having the courage to start a conversation at lovehasnolabels.com/onesmallstep. A message from StoryCorps, Love Has No Labels, and the Ad Council.
People do some pretty cool things in their 40s and 50s. Why should saving for retirement be any different? I mean, they go back to college, learn new instruments, start skateboarding. Whoa! Okay, maybe that one's not for everybody, but saving for retirement is. With aceyourretirement.org, you can get on track with your retirement savings no matter your age. Just have a 3-minute chat with Avo, the friendly digital retirement coach from AARP. You'll get personalized recommendations based on your input that are easy to understand and work with your lifestyle. It's quick, easy, and free. Plus, it's sponsored by AARP, so you know they got your back.
Woohoo! Gnarly move, Dad.
Thanks, sweetie. So, wherever you are in your retirement savings journey, head to aceyourretirement.org and start chatting with Avo today. That's aceyourretirement.org. A message from AARP and the Ad Council.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting. A teenager. Learning the lingo.
Today I'm going to help parents translate teen slang. Now, when a teen says something is on fleek, it's exactly like saying, that's rad. It simply means that something is awesome or cool. Another one is totes. It's exactly like saying, totally, just shorter. As in, I totes love going to the mall with Becca. Another word you might hear is jelly. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will think you're, rad, just the same. To learn more, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
This is the story of a very special woman. In a matter of seconds, she turned herself into a great mathematician or an entrepreneur. Her knowledge was limitless and still is. She could also make monsters disappear, especially those that lurked in the shadows under the bed. Once, this woman put back together a teenage girl's broken heart, which had been shattered in 1,000 pieces, just by giving her a bear hug. She masqueraded as a regular person at work, but as a superhero at home. Everyone knows her as Gabriella. I still call her Mom.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need to help, complete with tips and resources at aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
You're listening to The Pete Shepherd Show.
And welcome back to The Pete Shepherd Show here, a Hump Day Wednesday. I am Pete Shepherd, and as always, around this time, usually on Wednesdays at 8:30, the one and only Bill Sparrows, senior betting analyst from bookies.com and, of course, great columnist for the Boston Herald, joins me. Good morning, Bill. How are you?
Oh, Pete, I'm fabulous as ever. Especially joining you. It's pretty much the highlight of my life. Meaning I don't have a
Why
life.
does everybody say that? You know, I know it's tongue in cheek.
I can't speak for others. Pete, I don't speak for others. I just want to express my own inner joy and euphoria. I used to take fentanyl, but now I just come on this show and it's the same effect.
So as Huey Lewis once said,
Yes.
I want your drug. You know,
You are my drug, Pete. You are my fentanyl.
Well, as Neil Diamond once said, "You are the sun, I am the." I won't go into it. I should have been a singer. Anyway, how you doing? What's going on?
Doing well. Oh, it's football season.
Oh, I know.
What else is
Have
there?
you been listening to my picks? If you listened to me last week, you went 4-1. You would have gone 5-0 if Brian Kelly, a.k.a. Mr. Man from Everett, had got his head out of his tuchus and scored more than 6 points on 3 drives inside the 15. Anyway, but let's start with the betting aspect of it. We'll get into the Patriots, the Red Sox a little bit. But from now, we start. Week 0, full slate of college football last week. Fantastic. You got to stay organized. You cannot, and disciplined. Can't bet every single game. 4 or 5 tops, not 40 games, as some people like to do. So I was happy with my 4-1 start last week. But we're in big time betting right now, Bill, because of college football, and now the NFL starts tomorrow night. This is where it gets real.
Yeah, obviously, I do the PSA at the beginning of any discussion on gambling. Set a budget, stick to it. Don't chase losses. And if you can't stick to your budget, you probably shouldn't be gambling.
No question about it. And we've already seen, in this year, already a number of upsets. Boston College over Florida State, although I thought that was going to be an easy cover for BC, to be honest.
Yeah, that spread. And it's funny because I respect these odds makers. They do get it right, but they don't always get it right. And you see more of that earlier in the season, obviously, both college and the pros. There were some big misses. I think that BC game was probably the biggest one. They had a 21-point line at the open. So, yeah, they're not always perfect. They're not always right. Try to avoid sort of in your mind, like these cliches. No, the house doesn't always win. If the house always won, you'd have 15 sports books in Massachusetts instead of 7. It just doesn't work that way. Yes, eventually the house wins because it takes a 10% cut off the top, but that's not always the case. And, nobody's ever always right. Nobody's ever always wrong. If you have a system and you respect it, that's fine. I know a lot of people do, but the public isn't always right. The public isn't always wrong. The sharps aren't always right. They're not always wrong. So you just have to look at these things as individual instances. And, each game is its own separate little event.
Sure.
Each play is its own separate little event within the game. So avoid generalities and just, do your best to do your research. Keep it within reason. If you're a pro, that's a different story. You're not listening to me anyway, but most people aren't. So, as someone who's been betting for, I think, 48 of his 59 years, I will speak from limited experience, but more common sense. And that's the play. It's always the devil here is, it's rational thought and analysis and mitigated risk versus emotion. And obviously, what do you see in commercials? You see emotion. You see the Hard Rock ads where they're jumping up and down, or the DraftKings ads with Kevin. Yeah. I'm going to get my spokesman mixed up.
No, you're right.
They play on emotion and fun and excitement, and there is that element to it. But when it comes down to your money, you have to be rational and cold about it. And, if the situation's right, you hedge. If not, you don't. People have to understand too, and back in the day before gambling, went technical and it became this high-tech legal, entity, the early bookmakers of the internet age basically made all of their money looking for hedge plays. And before between illegal offline bookmakers and the illegal online books, like 10, 15, 20 years ago, like they would just spend all day and all week shopping for disparities on the line and playing both ends and trying to cash in the middle. And that's really how a lot of these folks got started when sort of the computer age met the gambling age. They were just looking for holes and looking for hedge plays. You don't get that now, certainly in the legal space. You don't have much disparity between lines. But that really, people don't think enough about hedging, when they're in a position to do so. Because at the end of the day, the point is to win money and to make money.
Yeah.
And if you're in a, Of course, I talk about the emotional unicorns, which again, it's, if you could afford the money and the Celtics are playing in a game 7 and you're a Celtics fan, you want to bet against them, that emotional hedge, again, that's sort of the same thing. But, just try to remember if you're in a position to hedge, 10 out of 10 times you ought to take it because, your losses are limited and your gains are pretty high and pretty open. So if you hit 10 times and hit twice, that's 100% profit.
Well, I'm going to do the Vulcan mind meld to you and really get into the thought process. You just touched on a whole bunch of stuff I could probably sit here 4 hours and ask you about.
See, I got the little light, my idea light over my head too. I hate this damn fan. I got everything.
What was that? Is that an old Father's Day present? I mean, who does that?
That was a Father's Day present from like 1840 or something, and this house was only 10 years old.
I think Bill Cosby got one of those things on the show one day, one of the early season episodes where he returned all the Father's Day presents. Or he made them go out on Christmas or July and get them Father's Day stuff. Anyway,
then he put like 4 bottles of Quaaludes in the Father's Day cake.
He thought it was something else, Yeah, anyway, but you talk about hedging bets. So when you look at, in some places, if you're able to look at different books, and obviously, especially if a line is 3 and something is 2.5 or 7, 6.5, those are the big one about hedging. Of course, hedging afterward. But I'm talking about if you see a book, 2 books, one's got Kansas City favored by 3 tomorrow night, another one has Baltimore or Kansas City favored by 3.5. Are you better off? You take the Ravens +3. Would you buy the point at 3 down to 2.5 from Kansas City? And what would your thought process be? So, is it better to hedge afterwards, or you just bet you pay the extra juice for the half a point, especially on a 3 to -2.5? I think makes a huge difference a lot of times.
I know. The way I was educated, I was taught not to buy points. That it's just, again, and everything is price, so like a point shouldn't cost more than, I think it's like 25 or 30 basis points, but most books charge you like 40 or 50. So you really have to see what the price is. It's really a matter of how much is that point worth, and is it, and is it worth that? Is the book charging you the right price for it? And yeah, there's a huge difference, that between 2.5 and 3, there's really no difference because the worst you're going to do is push. The difference between 3 and 3.5 and 2 and 2.5 and 3 is huge.
Huge.
So that point between 3 and 3.5 should in theory cost you more. If it's the same price as the other one, you might want to look at that, but that's rarely that. See, nowadays, all of this is done through AI and algorithms. These aren't people making these changes. These are all programmed in, and it's all algorithms. It's all past performance. It's thinking much faster than we can think, because it's doing calculations. That's really all it is.
Well, I wanted to ask you to stay there for a second on that point. When you hear a lot of these bookmakers, and look, I've heard enough of them in my lifetime that have been guests on the show at other radio stations I've heard, and I'll give you this pick for free, blah blah. And tonight I have my system play. Does system play mean like AI, computer simulation? I mean, you hear a lot of these bookmakers, these 800 guys, 900 guys. My system play has hit. I love that. I love when they say guaranteed system play that's hit over 70% of the time, but guaranteed. I don't want to ruin
anyone's lives here.
Why?
Because,
you're not ruining anyone's lives.
I want to use the Santa Claus analogy. Santa is real, okay?
Yes.
The Tooth Fairy, maybe not. The Easter Bunny is not real. These guys are kind of in the Easter Bunny neighborhood. And frankly, what they do is they want to work on volume. They tell half their players to play the Patriots, the other half to play the Bengals.
So you think that really goes on? You think that goes
on? 100%.
Yeah.
100%. Now I'm not saying for everybody. Look, I think there are people out there who put their names if someone is putting their real name on something and they're a tout and they're putting their name on there and they're putting the record out there, that's one thing. But that's like anything else. In a lot of ways, back in the day, if you were booking with Nick the Greek, or Pete the Greek, or George the Greek,
or Pickles,
we're all Greek.
Every
Greek.
The Pickles.
When I lived on Windsor Street in Cambridge, the old variety, we used to call them variety store.
Mm-hmm.
George's variety store. I was in there, buying candy bars and baseball cards, and my old man was in there playing the number. So it was always the Greek being Greek. I can say that.
Well, can you get away with it nowadays? If you say, I think everybody tracks everything. If you have somebody on, you call in a number, and they're going to give half on Kansas City and half on Baltimore. I don't you think in this day and age, people are smarter than that they'll figure that out. They'll get called out.
No.
Look at FDX. What if you're on a national radio show?
How many people bought into FDX? How many people gave Bernie Madoff their money? I mean, of course. Look, if something worked for 100 years, why are you going to stop doing it? And again, you have to. Again, it's like anything else. Just do your research.
Yeah.
And it, it's like it's like, what's the number one word used in advertising is free, and yet all advertising wants you to do is spend money. Nothing is free. So if and again, I'm not talking about, I know people on social media, I follow them, they follow me, I speak with them all the time, and messaging and all that. I'm not talking about these folks. I'm talking about these random anonymous 800 numbers that you're talking about.
Yeah.
And they all work on volume. They all work on commission. So they're going to say, okay, Bill, our play is the Patriots plus. Now that line's 7.5, by the way.
9 right now.
7.5, by the way.
I just checked it on ESPN seconds ago before it came on. It's 9.
It's back to 9.
Yep.
No, it's 7.5 on DraftKings.
Okay.
Because the scuttlebutt is that Jamar Chase isn't going to be ready yet.
Oh yeah. Well,
point is,
yeah. Go ahead.
Okay, I call 1-800-WIN-BIG with 2 G's, and Nick the Greek is on one line and Pete the Greek is on the other. And Nick says to me, Bill, we like the Patriots because the Bengals suck in week 1 and the Patriots are better, and it's going to be 52 degrees in Cincinnati. So that's our play, and, we'll take 500 on that game if you want. And then the guy on the other phone's telling him to play Cincinnati. They take 500 from him at -110.
Yeah.
So they're getting a vig on both ends, and one of us is going to come back next week, and one of us may not come back next week. So they're just every gambling is mitigated risk. Casinos are built on 2%, 3%, 5%, 10%. They're not built on 100%. So these mass marketed 1-800 lines, they're built on margin. They're built on 5 and 10 points. They're not built on, percent. They're not built on 100% of the time. So would I recommend someone do that? No, because and again, I'm going to stress, there are people I know who do this, and they're genuine. They're not always right. They're not always wrong, but they do their research and you pay them. That's one thing. But these sort of mass marketed, especially, I don't know if it's so much prevalent anymore. It certainly used to be. Would you call the number? I knew a guy. I used to work for a guy who ran a service like that when I was in the newspaper business, and he explained to me how it worked. And it's all, again, it's all like margin. It's all, we're going to get 100 people. We're going to win on 50. We're going to lose on 50, but we're going to walk away with 10% in our pocket plus the, $1.99 that we gave them. Or if we do it for free, we're going to get the guy back next week and charge him 50 for the pick, and then, another 10%.
Yeah. Well, and the ones that I think that can be legit are the ones where you don't deal with a sales rep. If it's a 900 number or an 800 number, or you sign up for a service, whatever it is, $100 for the week, whatever it is, and they have the picks on a recorded message, maybe 2, 3, sometimes even 4. But they keep track of it, because I know people that, as you say, the ones that do it the right way, they will come back the next day. Hey, we had a good night last night. I went 3-1. We really missed last night. I went 1. Those are the ones that are sort of legit. They may not always win all the time, but at least they're being honest about it. So where do you stand on stuff like that with people who want to use a service, recorded message, or should you talk to a rep or just stay away from it totally?
I think now it's social media. I mean, there's plenty of verified real human beings on social media who do this. And like anything else, shop around. I mean, we have a pick service. I'm part of a free pick service on bookies. We have a great handicapper, Adam Thompson, who I would trust before I trust me. You sign up for the service. We don't charge for it. Obviously, we're trying to build a customer base to get our content to. But I would just again do your homework. I'm always for a name. If there's a name, at least that adds some credibility to it. Obviously, you have to make sure said person is real. But I think there are enough of these on social media to where if you want to do that, just find the right one for you, whatever fits your budget, and go that way. I don't necessarily have a problem with that. I just think people need to be really careful about how some of these services work.
No, totally agree. Now, usually, and again, I'm talking about small money for me, but I usually don't do more than 4 or 5 games on a Saturday. So let's just stick with college football. What is your thought process going in to college football? How many games, if any, will you put shekels on, or will you take a week off or here or there? Or do you feel like, not that you have to bet every single game, because I know you're more disciplined like that. There are those who, because every game is on TV now, they have to bet everything. But
well, those people, to be serious for a second, those people shouldn't bet.
No, they shouldn't.
I mean, seriously, they and again, whatever you're in, okay, fine. If your net worth is $500,000 or $2 million, your income's $100,000, and you're betting $200 a week, and you're doing silly willy parlays, and that's fine. But everybody knows their own financial situation, right? So my thing with gambling, and again, I speak from not necessarily me, but personal experience. If you're not in control, that's the time to pull the plug. But unfortunately, you don't necessarily realize that. But if somebody tells you, if somebody's really close to you that you've trusted like your entire life on everything, and they say, hey, this is out of control, you ought to listen to them, because they're seeing things that you don't see. And again, I could speak from personal, not myself necessarily, experience on this. And I know what this does to people. I've seen it firsthand. So perhaps, not to be religious, but I think some providence might have put me in this position to where I actually have a voice in this community where I can talk about this stuff. So, if you're not in control, you need to pull the plug. And again, it in your heart. Your head might convince you otherwise, but in your heart, your best friend, your children, your spouse will tell you, hey, this is not right. But again, at the end of the day, it's up to everyone to make the decision. And unfortunately, most people who have real problems make that decision way too late. They wait until everything's collapsed. Yeah. And the ability to walk away when you have something still on the plus side of the ledger is the toughest thing in the world when it comes to betting. That is the most challenging thing to do, is to walk away with money in your pocket. It is so hard to do that, especially if you've won or you're winning. To set that limit and stick to it requires real discipline, and it's very difficult. And, there's a reason why gambling is the world's second oldest profession, because there's that human nature that it plays against constantly. So you have to really fight it. And if you have a problem with it, you need to, in your heart, if you have a problem with it, and you need to do whatever it is you need to do, self-exclude, delete your apps, however, whatever it takes, to walk away, you need to walk away.
Totally agree. 7.5 and 40, by the way. Yes, on Hard Rock, on the Hard Rock app, 7.5 and 40.5. But no, you're so right. And I always tell people, I don't care if you have a bankroll of $10. Don't bet more than 10% of your bankroll, ever, 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 ever. And stay disciplined that way. But how many games will you go after on not, I won't count Friday, but say Saturday in college football. What's your thought process, and how many games do you do, or if any?
I keep it real limited. I mean, I'll do, my job this year has me covering college football. So I think I do about 4 or 5 picks a week on college. I still pick every NFL game as part of my sort of tongue-in-cheek picks.
Me too.
But I do make picks.
Mm-hmm.
Frankly, I would bet limited to 3. 3
mm-hmm.
games in college and 3 in the pro, and that's a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And again, it's like trying to throw. It's like Mac Jones trying to throw the ball 20 yards into double coverage. Don't force the pass. Don't force the play, because you're going to get picked off and then traded to Jacksonville. So don't like what happens with every quarterback not named Tom Brady or Pat Mahomes throws it to triple coverage, they get picked off. That's Aaron Rodgers' specialty. So don't force the play. A, there's going to be another one coming along, and B, your money's and your time isn't worth wasting it like that, right? If you just say, "Oh, God damn it, I got to make this play," because give me the money, I'll take the action, and I'll give you back the money after you lose.
Bill Spiros here from Senior Betting Analyst from Bookies.com and a great columnist for the Boston Herald. NFL season begins tomorrow night. I think it's fascinating. We saw what happened last year. Kansas City lost to Detroit. Detroit covered last year, remember? And the Chiefs favored by 3 at home. And then Friday, which I think is really interesting, and let me know before we get to the Patriots and your pick there if you have one. Eagles and the Packers in Brazil, where it seems like nobody wants to go there and play because they're fearing for their lives a lot. And I get it. So I don't know. That's a game from a betting standpoint, you got players who have been talking about being scared to death to leave their hotel room. And I don't know what the condition of the field is going to be, a place where an NFL game has never been held before. Would you recommend just totally staying away from let's start with the Packers and Eagles on Friday night, stay away from that game totally, and then your thoughts on the Ravens and the Chiefs?
Let me read you what I wrote.
Okay.
It's a big ask for 48.5 points in a Week 1 game played on neutral turf in a foreign country after a long road trip. Viewers can begin their ranting now, since the game will not be televised in the United States outside of the Packers-Eagles home markets. It will be streamed only on Peacock. There's going to be a lot of anger Friday night when people find out they're not going to be able to watch this game on television. They keep saying NBC. It is not going to be on NBC. No, yet. Unless you live in Philadelphia, home of the Kamala Harris Eagles, or in Green Bay, you're not watching this game unless you stream it on Peacock. You've been warned.
Which is like $5, right? I think it's $5.
Yeah, it's six. I think it's $5 or $6.99 for the cheapo subscription. It's worth it. And I didn't get paid to say that. Yeah, I like the under in that game for literally every single reason you just said.
They might have food poisoning.
You just don't know. Look. If it's an uncomfortable situation, I mean, good God, if Jalen Hurts goes on Twitter in Brazil, they might throw him in prison. So it's a terrible situation. These overseas games tend to be low scoring anyway for a lot of different reasons. I'll tell you this: if this game was played in Philadelphia on like October 5th, I think the total would be like 65. So they've already sort of baked that in. It's kind of the same reason why I love the under in the USC LSU game. That total was 64. That was crazy. For first game of the year, neutral, very similar circumstances. First game of the year, neutral site, that field was shitty. I mean, the Trojan literally lifted up the whole field when he stuck his sword in there.
Yeah.
So, in these situations, if you want, I always, when in doubt, bet the under, especially in the NFL. That's my default position in every. If I have a system or whatever you want to call it, my default position is bet the under.
Okay, which I know is very tough for a lot of people. All right, Chiefs, Ravens. Chiefs, look, the Ravens are my pick to go to the Super Bowl as they were last year. And it's not because I don't think the Chiefs can get there. It's because I just think no one's ever done 3 in a row. Not that they can't. I got the Ravens and the Lions in the Super Bowl this year. But so I guess 6-5 and pick them in that one. But the Patriots are plus 7.5 because I know a lot of people are listening from the win. People are going to tease that game down to 1.5. There's no question. with whatever other game they want on the board, something that they think is completely obvious. Maybe it's Saints against the Panthers. You get the Saints at +2 at home, or you get the what would be an obvious one here? Let's see. Maybe there's not a lot of obvious ones. I'd say maybe the Buccaneers. You tease them and you get them +2.5. So but far as straight up Patriots +7.5 and the total 40.5. It screams Bengals and under, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. And I'm not a contrarian guy, and I still think the Patriots are going to lose this game, and I'm sticking with Cincinnati, especially at 7.5. But this could be the one game they win. I don't think it's going to happen. I'm just going to assume that they'll figure out something with Jamar Chase. But even if they don't, Joe Burrow hasn't played in since forever. And it's not like the Patriots. This Patriots defense has never faced him. They have no idea what they're getting. There's no real game film on him that's relevant now. So I like Cincinnati to win the Super Bowl this year. I think they're going to win. I think they're going to win big. I think the total. Remember last year when the Patriots played Pittsburgh, that was the lowest total in the history of ledgered gambling. It was 28.
Flew over.
And the Patriots scored 21 themselves in the first half. I did bet the over in that game, by the way.
I did too.
So yeah, first week of the season. But then again, I don't know. I think the Patriots defense is really not that good. And I think their secondary could get shredded. But if they don't have Jamar Chase, I would lean toward the under because I could see 34-3 or 31-7.
Yep.
You might get that. So that point total, I'm not entirely comfortable with in week one either way. I think over-unders in college are a bit easier to figure out early in the season. When the NFL, like you said, you're going to get burned on that play. But, yeah, I think we're going to see just how bad this Patriots team is on Sunday. I don't know how they're going to move the ball. I mean, I just don't know. Cincinnati it's got good, solid defense front and back. So maybe you take that under, thinking the Patriots might score 7 points or 10 points. Cincinnati 21-10. Yeah, I could see that.
You see that
low scoring game. Low scoring 7-point line. It's it's a little bit illogical, but yeah, I mean 21-10. There's your cover. There's your under.
Awesome. Love it, Bill. Great stuff as always. And check out your outstanding columns on the Boston Herald.
Got one tomorrow.
And you got one tomorrow, and your stuff.
Yeah, the light bulb's going off. I already wrote it, but
bookies.com. The Astros could use you. If you could stand behind a plate when you think you have a call, that you turn the light on. Something like that. All right, Bill. We'll talk again next week. All the best. Good luck on your shekels, whatever you decide to play, and we'll compare and contrast next Wednesday.
Yeah, if I'm coming to you live from the bus station in Daytona Beach, you'll know it wasn't a good week.
Okay. All right, Bill. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks a lot. Bill Sparrows from the Boston Herald, senior betting analyst at bookies.com. Always a great conversation. All right, quick break. And then Bill Burt, you never know. He'll try to join us via video. You never know with Bill. But we'll get into more discussion about the Bengals and the Patriots and some other stuff going on in the NFL as well when the Pete Shepard Show continues right here on the Coastal Sports Network.
Hi, folks. This is Gerard Moynihan of Moynihan Lumber, and I would like you to know that our company has been selling Andersen windows for over 60 years. See the complete line of Andersen windows at any of our 3 locations in North Reading, Beverly, or in Plastown, New Hampshire, or at MoynihanLumber.com.
What's up, Southwest Florida? Jimmy the Beef Guy here. Fort Myers, we answered your call. We're pumped to announce the opening of our second location. It's on 41 just north of the Edison Mall. And guys, nothing's changed here. The beef, the sausage, the breaded steak from Maxwell Polish. Now serving you in 2 locations, Fort Myers and Bonita Springs. And don't forget, if you're having a party, check out our catering menu.
Hey guys, when you're at the counter, don't call it gardenia. It's pronounced Chardonnay.
Eye on Tampa Bay is the latest news, weather, and traffic for Pinellas, Pasco, Ellsboro, Hernando, and surrounding communities. Stay connected on X, Facebook, and their website, iontp.com. Ion Tampa Bay keeps you informed on breaking news as it happens. Southwest Florida's newest game in town. Sports Radio 102.9, the game powered by Ion Tampa Bay. We'll be right back.
Okay, men. This is your time. Maybe you didn't choose this, but you're here now. You're gonna go out there and be an all-star caregiver. It's up to you. So what are you gonna do? You're gonna go grocery shopping, cook, clean, be there emotionally and physically. You gotta dig deeper. Drive them to physical therapy, doctor's appointments. Don't you forget about the pharmacy. I know you won't, because that's what caregivers do. Don't give up. Don't ever give up. This is your time to show the world, your family, and yourself that you're tougher than tough. Now go out there and be the best caregiver this world has ever seen. Caregiving is tougher than tough. Find the care guides you need at aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Danica Patrick and proud aunt. Watching my nieces grow, play, and learn is amazing. But not every child gets to be carefree. 1 in 6 kids in the U.S. are hungry. 1 in 6. That little girl sitting alone at the playground, she can't play like the other kids. She doesn't have the energy because she's hungry. School lunch will be her only meal today. It breaks my heart that this is the reality in our country, but it's something that Feeding America is working to change. Each year, the Feeding America network of food banks rescues billions of pounds of good food that would have gone to waste. This food is then provided to families and children in need. Being a kid should be about using your imagination, learning, and having fun. These children shouldn't have to miss out on simply being a kid because they're hungry. To find out how you can help end childhood hunger in your community, visit feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting. A teenager. Learning the lingo.
Today I'm going to help parents translate teen slang. Now, when a teen says something is on fleek, it's exactly like saying, that's rad. It simply means that something is awesome or cool. Another one is totes. It's exactly like saying, totally, just shorter. As in, I totes love going to the mall with Becca. Another word you might hear is jelly. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will think you're, rad just the same. To learn more, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
This is the story of a very special woman. In a matter of seconds, she turned herself into a great mathematician or an entrepreneur. Her knowledge was limitless and still is. She could also make monsters disappear, especially those that lurked in the shadows under the bed. Once, this woman put back together a teenage girl's broken heart, which had been shattered in 1,000 pieces, just by giving her a bear hug. She masqueraded as a regular person at work, but as a superhero at home. Everyone knows her as Gabriella. I still call her Mom.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need to help, complete with tips and resources at aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
The Pete Shepherd Show. It's fun for the whole family, if it's dysfunctional.
Welcome back here to the Pete Shepherd Show. It's hour number 3 here on a hump day, Wednesday, September 4th. How's everybody doing? Thanks, everybody, for checking us out on the Coastal Sports Network and the video platform. I see Bill Bird a couple of times popping in and out. Anything to that, Angel?
I saw him pop in and out, but then after that, it looks like he has it. We could see him on the video, and then all of a sudden he just disappeared.
Well, hopefully Bill Burke from the Eagle Tribune will be joining me in just a couple of minutes. We'll talk about the Patriots and Bengals and some other stuff going on. Another interesting connection between Massachusetts and Southwest Florida. Not Billy, but this story is breaking right now. Bridgewater State University, which is the 10th biggest school in Massachusetts, Executive Director of Public Safety and Police Chief David Tillinghast has been working remotely for about a year and a half due to what the university president described as, quote, unusual circumstances. Billy, there is Billy Bird. Good morning. Bill, how are you? Doing good. Doing great. I was just saying that before we get to football, I'm just seeing this, another Southwest Florida, Massachusetts connection. Bridgewater State University's Executive Director of Public Safety and Police Chief David Tillinghast has been working remotely for about a year and a half due to what the university president described as unusual circumstances. And it's about 20 minutes from here in Punta Gorda, where he's been. Holy shit. He makes over $176,000 a year. He's working remotely. Wow, the weather's better. What are you going to do?
Are there any openings? Are there any openings there?
Channel 25 investigators received an anonymous tip that Tillinghast moved to Punta Gorda, and a public record search shows he's registered to vote there. In an email, he confirmed he left New England in early 2023 and remains, quote, in constant communication with the police department of the president's office. He's worked there for more than 30 years. And he has a law degree, set to make $172,419 this year remotely. Isn't that nice?
Wow. And I love Punta Gorda, by the way.
Yeah, very nice. We have relatives. Yeah. I love Punta Gorda. It's like great. It's like, Southwest Florida, love it. Punta Gorda, that's nice. So maybe I bumped into him some way.
Wow. Yeah. Hey, I'm telling you, I'm not saying I'm looking for a job, but that job would be enticing if it opens. So,
what if you're? No, I know you were one of the big editors up there at the Eagle Tribune, but could you do your job? You could have a lackey go to press conferences in New England to feed you.
Yeah,
you could work down here easy.
I don't listen. This is a crazy world, and the thing is, it's a state position, which which it tells you everything. Though there was, there was a Boston radio personality who lived in Florida, did the news from Florida. I think.
We all know Gary LaPierre. Everybody knows
Gary LaPierre, but the problem was, it wasn't that he was doing it; it was that no one knew. You thought he was in Newton, at the studio. And for a couple of years, we got baffled by it. But I'm saying, hey, it happens. Look, I went to get a coffee this morning, and they're closing because they can't get enough people to work. It's a crazy world out there, Pete.
Gary LaPierre story is my favorite. But back then, he was doing what a lot of people doing now. Like I could do this show. There's a lot of people that do shows you see on ESPN all the time. Not everybody's in Bristol. They're all over the place and doing video shows like this. It's not that if I had to do a show back in Boston, I could do. It doesn't matter where you are. I could be on the moon. It doesn't really matter, or whatever. It doesn't really matter. My favorite Gary LaPierre story is this. This is, oh my God, it's supposed to be back. This is like 95, 94, 95. So he's reading the Grammy Award nominations at the time, and he's like Madonna, blah 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 blah. I don't know, pick somebody else, blah, 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 Billy Joel, blah, blah, blah. And then it goes, boys, 11 men. Instead of boys.
I remember that. I remember hearing about that, right?
Boys, 11 men. That was, but Gary's, legendary news broadcaster. But, was it really a big deal that did you have to be in Boston at one of the top news stations in the country he wasn't a talk show host where maybe he had to be around the bar. He's reading the news.
No, but Pete, the difference is I can see the beach behind you. Gary didn't tell us. He didn't inform us. It was done surreptitiously, whatever that word is. And we found out, when it was basically reported by somebody that, hey, this guy's been working for a couple of years in Florida. I would do the same. I would do the same thing.
Do it. I mean, Clear Channel, they let him do it.
Yep.
So, whatever. But yeah, I know people were outraged. I do remember that. All right. First of all, Max doing okay? Your son playing for the
In fact, I'm here in Binghamton. In fact, talk about working remotely. I'm working remotely here for the day, and then I'm heading back tomorrow to the office in the morning. But I got a busy day here, and then we get a couple games tonight here in Binghamton. Season's near the end, and so I don't know if you saw, he had the top play in the Sports Center top 10.
We talked about it last time you were on. It was last week. I remember that. Yes.
No, he had the first number 1 play 2 days ago.
Yes. I was. You know what? I was in Gainesville at the watching my Hurricanes whip up on the Gators, and I didn't see a lot of that stuff. So
I'll send you a text. I'll send you the Twitter feed of it.
Always
things are good here. So look, baseball season's coming to an end. I want to see a couple more games before it ends, and we're getting ready. We get a busy. This is it. This is it, Pete. There is, I'm not a fan of the summer ending. But the benefit of the summer ending is what we're feeling. A little chilly, and the football. And this past weekend for us, look, that BC Florida State game.
I loved it.
I'm not going to say. I'm not going to say I predicted it.
Besides you, people up there better start paying attention to fucking goddamn college football. It is ridiculous. You go to any sports bar in New England, it is packed with college football fans.
Yep.
And I'm so tired of the laziness that goes on up there because they think all people want to talk about is the Patriots, Bruins, Celtics, and Red Sox. You can't. You can talk college football. Just watch the goddamn games.
Well, the problem is, Pete, is BC has not been relevant, and if they were relevant, because look, I'll go back to the Tom Coughlin days when he was at BC. That to me was the pinnacle. I was so into college football because they were not, and it wasn't like they were number 2 or 3. Though one year they finished 4th, but they were respectful and they fought every game, and that's what I saw the other night. This was not. I thought it was going to be a good game because I know Bill O'Brien and I know what he's done. This was a 7-month project. This was not something that just showed up on the field in Tallahassee. BC's not going away. They got a quarterback who's, I'm not going to say he's great per se, but in college football, he's going to be a top 10 quarterback. This kid can generate. He's smart. He can throw the ball. He's got a good intermediate passing game, and he's small and strong enough where he can run the football and run it like a running back. And then you add the defense because their offensive line and defensive line.
In the trenches, they're awesome. I mean,
they won both
for a lot of years. Yeah,
that's where they dominated, though. Yeah. They dominated Florida State, and Florida State's defensive line was coming into the season. They said the best defensive line in the country. Obviously, it isn't anymore. But look, BC can change the narrative here, Pete. And
I hope so.
But it's going to take. It's not going to be 10-3, 11-2 every year. It's just compete, win games like they did here the other night. And, there's some big ones coming up.
They're fun to watch. They are fun to watch. And their offensive line, tongue-in-cheek, might be better than the Patriots.
Yeah. So that's the point, Pete. Great opportunity here because the Patriots have 2-3 wins written all over them. And BC, they could win 10 games this year.
All right, I just hope, because I've been a college football fan all my life and been a Hurricane fan since the 70s when nobody liked them and they were going to leave and drop the program until Schellenberger took over. So I just love college football in general. I can't wait for that Colorado-Nebraska game coming up at 7:30. I had Catherine Tappan on last week. She was in Ann Arbor talking about the Michigan-Fresno State game and Connor Stallings. I mean, it's just, and down here, college football in the NFL is king. I like doing a national show because I can do all of this and then still have people like you on who I love, and we can get locally and all that. I know you follow college football.
Yes, I do.
A lot of other people don't.
Pete, I was at in the hotel yesterday, watched the 30 for 30. It was maybe 2 days ago on Monday.
Yes.
The 30 for 30 on the Catholics versus
so awesome.
That is one of the all-time great 2-hour documentaries I've ever seen.
Except they forgot to put in how Zorich ended up at Notre Dame, well below SAT scores, and Lou Holtz somehow, some way, worked his magic for this phony baloney Notre Dame. You have to have this kind of crap. It's ridiculous.
Well,
especially now, we all know the truth is a little bit different.
That was sort of exposed that they weren't totally the Catholics per se, but Pete, just riveting college football stuff.
Oh, it's awesome.
And Tony Rice's story. I just the Miami story. And
Tony Rice story is a great story. That was
one of the great games. Yeah. One of the great games in college football history, and what it meant, and the T-shirts and the college. Yeah. The Digger Phelps. I love it. So college football. It could BC. Let's go back to your original point.
Yeah.
Bill O'Brien has some power in his hands. I hope he gets it done.
Anybody who could resurrect that Penn State program as quickly as he did when all that Joe Paterno, that horrible situation was going down, that was, I think, one of the more amazing jobs in the history of college football.
7-4 first year.
7-4, then got back. I mean, to do what he did. With a program that was, just absolutely, eviscerated for many, many reasons. That was amazing. So I am not surprised. I mean, I knew BC had some talent. We have meet around every week, and we talk to him and get the inside scoop and everything else. And this team is going to be, no one's going to want to play him.
Nope.
No one's going to want to play him. They don't play Miami this year. That's the only downfall. It's too bad. But
I know that's right. But look, I'm just saying, he's brought toughness to this program, and they're not going away. So they're going to battle everybody. Look, Clemson. BC Clemson right now, I'd take BC. So listen, they got a schedule where they could get some wins. So back to the original point. I'm hoping he puts college football on the map, and he has a great opportunity, especially with the Patriots this year.
All right. So now you don't have to go to Cincinnati, correct? Or are you going to Cincinnati?
I don't have to, but I don't know. So it's ironically, Pete, the 2001 season.
Yes.
I went to Cincinnati. That was the opener.
That was horrible. Bledsoe was horrible in that game.
Horrible. And it's a game they could have won.
6 straight 3-and-outs, if I remember correctly.
Wow. Yeah. Great memory. And that was the Ted Johnson, the concussion happened during.
Mm-hmm. And there went Bill. There went Bill off into the night. Bill, just reset if you can. I can't hear or see you. Angel disappeared as well. I think the Klingons took over and beamed them both away. So here I am. Angel, Bill got beamed away. So we'll try and reset with Bill. Hopefully he will, because it was going really well. Angel is back, and we'll see if Bill Burke can come back. We're having a great conversation about college football getting into the pros. So we'll see. I just sent him a text to reset. And here he is. Looks like, thought he was there. He was there for a second.
For a second.
Use the Chrome app if you can. Use Chrome. Always use Chrome.
Not only that, but also too, that if I try to explain to in the emails that I normally send is make sure you are, if at all possible, connected to your Ethernet, because a lot of times Wi-Fi will act depending where you are in your house and depending how it was received, it will make you pop in and out. So if not, I'm pretty sure he can end up giving us a call here inside the studio, and we'll take it from there.
All right. That's I have Ethernet. Well, Angel, tell us, after the show today, what's coming up. We'll end a little earlier for you because I know you got your prep stuff you got to do. But you're coming up at 10 o'clock today as well. And then what else is happening?
Yeah, well, we hope to come on at 10 o'clock because as you were talking with Bill, I got a hold of somebody over at freaking Google. So I have to now then keep the conversation kind of going with them in the process of doing everything else, because it's that particular email is vitally important because it goes out to every contact that I use for shows and obviously for stuff with Tampa Bay Sun and the USF and everything else. So it's just, I got to make sure that's up and running back again. And again, thanks to Google and stuff they end up doing at times. And you never get the direct answer. So so I got to deal with that. And then hopefully if I can get that straightened out before the 12 o'clock hour, I'll jump in for an hour. If not, that is kind of priority number one. Worst case, just move the show and have back-to-back shows Thursday, Friday. See, Bill, he comes in and out. He pops in and he pops right back out again. So
we do have some breaking news in the NFL here, Angel and company. Denver Broncos and two-time Pro Bowl cornerback Patrick Surtain reached an agreement today on a 4-year, $96 million extension that includes $77.5 million guaranteed. He's now the highest-paid defensive back in NFL history. Tom Dandy of CAA negotiated the deal. How about that? 4-year, $96 million contract extension, $77.5 million guaranteed. Wow, that is happening literally 16 seconds ago by Adam Schefter of ESPN breaking that one. So that is unbelievable. In fact, if you want to, might as well just put that up there, Angel, for a second, if we can. Right under the show. People can see it for themselves. This was just happening 1 minute ago. Bill's trying to come on. It seems like he's almost there. Bill, are you there? Okay. I was just saying, okay, we can hear you. Okay, we'll just go the rest of the way like this. That's fine. So I just breaking news. Denver Broncos two-time Pro Bowl cornerback Patrick Surtain, Billy, just reached an agreement today, a 4-year, $96 million contract extension. This is moments ago, including $77.5 million guaranteed, makes him the highest paid defensive back in NFL history.
Oh my! Wow. Well, that's look at that. That guy knows how to build a franchise. We've seen it. It takes time. That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
But look, this is one of the great. He's one of the great athletes. Let's be honest, in the NFL, and it's probably deserved. So good for him. In fact, that's where we're headed in the NFL right now. Those kind of contracts. We're seeing a lot more of them right now.
Well, that's why I can't wait for Dak Prescott, because he should not sign with Dallas. He should just wait and hit the free agent market. He's going to be the highest paid player in the history of the NFL for the time, whenever it's all said and done.
Right.
So speaking of a highest paid player, Jamar Chase said he wants one more penny than Jefferson. I played Jefferson's response earlier today. I'm hoping that that Jamar Chase does not play for the Bengals when the Patriots go there to play. I'm hoping, not that they don't have, they still have T. Higgins. They still have Gesicki, a tight end, former Patriot as well. They still got enough weapons. They still got a decent running game. Zach Moss, Chase Brown. But the Patriots are 7.5-point underdogs. The total is 40.5. And, as far as Joey Burrow goes, we know he's great. Some people have them in the Super Bowl. This screams, I was just talking to Bill Spiros from the Boston Herald, and he thinks 21-10 Cincinnati. I think something like that, 31 to 7. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out how the Patriots are going to generate any kind of offense and try to get to double digits.
Yeah. So Pete, I'm down on the Patriots this year. And listen, the issue with the Patriots last year, among other things, was the offense. They just couldn't generate anything. It was one of the worst offenses I've ever seen. And, a couple of the teams, I'm assuming, have been worse. I didn't watch every single team in the NFL over the last 50 years. It was brutal. They just couldn't generate first downs. They couldn't generate that long touchdown. I don't see any difference this year. And Jacoby Brissett he's brought in for one reason. And we know Jacoby Brissett. He's, if they rated the 32 starting quarterbacks, I'm guessing he's 27, 28. You don't win with those guys. Now, he's here to basically lay the framework, be that pro that Drake May can see. But I just don't see so forget about Cincinnati. This week, I just don't see the Patriots scoring on Cincinnati. Forget about Joe Burrow and forget about Chase not playing. I don't see the Patriots, when I say scoring, more than 10 points, it's not happening. And their defense...
Well, it was 13.9 last year. I got to believe. And can it get worse than 13.9? Because I think Jacoby Brissett is not going to make it through the first month of the season.
Right. So I think you're right, Pete. 13.9. No, they could be better than that. But I still, that doesn't mean anything.
No.
15.9 isn't good. So here's the deal. And we've talked about this before. I'm not concerned with the beginning of the season with the Patriots. I'm concerned with December. I want to see how this team looks heading into December. And as I mentioned here last time, Pete, the most fun I've had covering a team was the 1993 Patriots. And that's when they ran December at the end of the month. They beat Miami. They knocked them out of the playoffs. It was but you knew something was there. You knew Bledsoe was a potential franchise quarterback. Forget about Parcells, who we knew was going to turn this around. So we need to see that. And I'm not, again, if they win a couple games, good, bad, whatever. There's.
I just want to see progression. We just want to see a progression, and I want to see how Gerard Mayo handles, being a head coach. I know he's got the smarts. We always compare him to a basketball player being a gym rat. I know he eats, breathes, and sleeps football. I get all that. Nobody worked harder as a player. Now we got to see, and maybe the pressure is off on him because no one's expecting anything at 4 wins tops.
The only thing, Pete, I'm going to say is this is like a 2-year experiment. If it's a let's say 3-14 and then 5-12, it's over. And that's what I'm saying here. I think for Gerard Mayo, what's going to strike me, the thing that strikes me, what I'm looking for most is how he's going to deal with adversity. I think the defense versus the offense could be an issue. We're good, they're not. I think Drake May's development, that's an issue. And I just think we've already seen elements where it's not the same. Of course, it's a new coach, and you replaced one of the all-time greats, if not the all-time great in professional modern sports. But what is he going to do when this team is in dire straits? And that's when Belichick was at his best. And as we said, with the on to Cincinnati, they're playing Cincinnati this week.
Yeah.
What's he going to do when this team is really sort of at each other's potential throats? My issue is, Pete, I don't see a leader on the team. Like, who is the leader of this organization right now?
He's on the bench playing, looking at Jacoby Brissett. I think Drake May is going to be a leader on this
team. Okay, but I'm saying right now.
The leader was Judon. Now he's in Atlanta.
Yeah, but
you're right. Coming out of the gate, Bengals home against the Seahawks, at the Jets, and at the 49ers. Right. The only game I give them a chance is against the Jets because it's the Jets. And I will have Ajita all weekend if they lose that game.
Yes.
I expect them to lose that game. I just want them to be competitive.
Right. And so,
because the Jets, the Jets, you saw the reports came out last week. We'll get to that in a second, but I want you to finish your thought and then we'll get to the Jets.
Yeah. So, no, you're on to something here, Pete. And let's go back to Bill O'Brien. I want to see toughness. I want to see grit. I want to see the Patriots act a little bit like BC. And I'm not saying they got to win. I want to see just, wow, okay. All right, wow, 16-10 they lost. Whoa, okay, that's impressive. Mm-hmm. And I don't believe we're going to see it. Now, I could be wrong. I'm not ready to anoint this Patriots defense as being a great defense like they want to be anointed. Great defenses score points. Great defenses cause turnovers.
Yep.
Great defenses win games. This Patriots defense hasn't won a game in 3 or 4 years.
Well, the thing with the defense, Billy, the thing is with the Patriots defense is it may very well be, I'm not going to say great, but it could be a very good defense. However, because if the offense is so piss poor, puts the defense in horrible field situation, I mean, that stuff you can factor that in, and all of a sudden you're like, well, the Patriots gave up this many points. Yeah, but the opposing team started on the Patriots 40-yard line or, had unbelievable field position. So much in the game, there's only so much you can do.
Right. So I'm with you, Pete. But the issue is if the defense is great, then I'm going to look at things differently. If this defense is great and keeping them in games, then you can run an offense based on control. Look, Ramondre Stevenson's a very good back. He's borderline pushing the top 10. Power back. He's, sort of the Bill Belichick kind of guy, gets you 4 yards every carry. But we didn't even mention the offensive line. This offensive line could be a disaster. And it's in my issue. It should have been addressed right when you drafted Drake May. You should have gone out and made this a very good offensive line. And what you're doing is you're protecting a quarterback, and the future is going. Now we're talking next year and 2 years because of your offensive line. So what I see, they're going to make, I think, a couple of deals, maybe into the season. They're going to overpay for something. And, they had all this cap space. And that was my biggest disappointment, that they had no plan and to really give this team an identity, especially in the offensive line. And instead, they just signed all their defensive players back. They added a couple. They really didn't add enough, Pete, in my opinion.
Did you see the video of Matt Patricia and Bill Belichick on a podcast video?
I laughed, Pete. I laughed my ass off.
What were your thoughts on that? I mean, they really didn't say much. They just said Bill had only said, Judon wasn't there, and Matt Patricia with his non-full beard anymore. But what do you think about that?
Yeah, listen. It was pretty funny. They were talking about them as if there was the Seattle Supersonics, or I mean Seattle Seahawks, and it was like they were like disconnected. Yet at the end, Matt Patricia said, we did sort of bring in all those guys that they re-signed. Oh yeah, we did do that. They basically said this is. They very nicely said this is going to be a long season for the Patriots. And Pete, I laughed because the way Belichick said, talking about Kendrick Bourne, and they got Bourne back, but they did lose Judon, and Judon was a guy that made plays, and they have 3 or 4 other guys they're going to have to fill in to make. Yeah, that's not happening. They know it's not going to happen. So I loved it. I honestly loved it.
Well, you might be off to Cincinnati. You don't know. That's cool. You get to make that decision. I mean, can you get a flight out there last second?
Yeah. It's pretty good. We can get out, and so it's probably a game I should be at. So we're going to decide here in the next couple hours. In fact, the plan. So I like, since you go in and out, you can fly from Manchester there. So which is one of my favorite airports. So and if Pete, I'll say it again, 16-10. We have our next discussion. I'm going to look at this team differently.
Well, it's like the Patriots-Eagles opener last year. Remember, everybody thought they could get blown out, blah, blah, blah. And, it came right down to the wire, as most of their games did last year. Mm-hmm. There were 3 maybe that weren't. But, against the Eagles last year, they held their own against them.
So that, but it's on the road. Cincinnati has a lot to prove. Joe Burrow, and I'm a big Joe Burrow guy. Well, I predicted Cincinnati to win the Super Bowl this year over Philadelphia, but I'm doing it with trepidation. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen.
What about the rust factor with him? The Patriots, can they take advantage of that? Especially if Jamar Chase isn't playing. Maybe they rattle him early for somehow, some way. Maybe it's just not sharp right away.
Well, rattle. They got to do more than rattle. They got to turn the ball. The Patriots to win, they got to win the turnover battle 3-1. So 3 versus 1. They do that. They run the football. They make it a low scoring game. But I just see Joe Burrow. This is a big year for Joe Burrow. It's a big year for a lot of guys. Him and Lamar Jackson, in my opinion, they have the most to prove in the NFL. Other than the team in Buffalo. Listen, I'm excited for the NFL this year. There's a lot of great storylines. Is Detroit going to get over the hump? We don't really talk a lot about Detroit. Houston Texans might be the best team.
So.
Texas might be the best team in the AFC. I don't know. Kansas City, Mahomes has 3 Super Bowls. We're talking.
He's going for 3 in a row, which is the only reason why I'm picking against him. I'm picking Baltimore and Detroit in the Super Bowl, and because no one's ever done it. Not 3 in a row. Not that he can't, because I'm not going to stay and be shocked.
Well, you mentioned Baltimore. This is Lamar Jackson has 2 MVPs and 2 playoff wins. He's never winning another MVP if he doesn't get to a Super Bowl. So this is a big year, and this might be the year, Joe, Pete, because there is opportunity. I don't know about Buffalo. I don't know about Cleveland. Houston, though, I'm going to go back to Houston. C.J. Stroud might be the MVP of the league. So I'm excited. That's a team I'm watching.
I think, and Billy, before we let you go, Billy Burke from the Eagle Tribune, editor. What other titles do you have? You have a lot.
That's it. Just executive sports editor.
Executive sports editor. Basically, he can go and cover any event that he wants. How would you feel if you were going to Brazil? What is it? New Queimaca Arena, Eagles, Packers. There have been players on both sides that have said on the record and off the record, they fear for their life. They don't want to go. Yep. I don't know. If the Patriots were playing in Brazil, would you have gone? Especially 9-hour flight going down. Then if you're going to Green Bay, from Green Bay, worse, 11 hours.
Well, Pete, I did go to the Mexico game when the Patriots played. So if Brady's in the Patriots, I'm probably in Brazil right now. Though I will say, it's amazing you can't leave the hotel. So I mean, how do you go somewhere? Well, no, it will be protected. Let's be honest. There will be protection. The NFL is not stupid. They'll have better security than Trump had in Butler. And so, yeah, that being said, you wouldn't want family there, which is what a couple players have said.
No, I wouldn't want family there. But but there's so many nut jobs. I mean, you can have all the protection you want. I don't know. It's just I wish the NFL had thought. I don't know what they're. If what does it say to the NFL, Roger Goodell? If people are afraid to go to this game, what does that say to? What does he? What does he say to that?
Yeah, it's I wouldn't. I don't know what. Look, NFL is. Let's be honest. It's becoming a global sport, and don't be surprised if 5 years from now there's two teams overseas, if not more. In Germany, one in Germany, one in so this is a Mexico City, another possibility. Look, I was down there. What a city Mexico City was, and I was sort of initially, a little trepidation there. No issues where we were, and beautiful. And we walked to the downtown, and it was an amazing city. And the fans, it was 80,000 people in this. The stadium was built in like 1920. But what a great experience! I'm just saying the fans down there were into it. So this is not a surprise. I don't like doing it an open weekend, and I think it sort of takes away the specialty. But
it's Friday night, so it's the only game around, except for some college football games. But nevertheless, all right, Billy, great stuff as always. Thanks so much, and it's going to be an interesting season for the Patriots. There are no expectations at all from anybody, including myself. The goal is just to see some progression. So we'll see what Gerard Mayo and the staff and Alex Van Pelt and company have in store here. Looking forward to it tomorrow night. Kansas City and Baltimore, flip a coin. Should be great. But football is back, and try to do that thing that the Punta Gorda, buddy in West Bridgewater. Come down here and work remotely. It's because, as you said, is it getting cooler up there yet?
It just you can. It's in the air. The fall is in the air. You know the feeling, Pete.
It's a hint of autumn, as I used to say.
I love, and I do love. It's great going to sleep at night when you can open the windows and you don't need the air conditioning. This is an exciting time of year, and the one thing the NFL has done, football, college and pro football, is the fall and winter sometimes flies. Because on Monday and Tuesday we're already into next week, and I can't wait. So I'm excited.
Awesome stuff. Well, we won't be opening the windows here for at least another 2 months. I mean, it has been in the 90s, and while the humidity isn't as bad, but man, I'm telling you, the lightning that I have down here lately, and the ones an Angel up in Tampa, it's like Thor and Shazam battling. It's crazy. But anyway, thanks so much, buddy.
Stay in touch. Take care.
Yep, we'll do. Bill Britt from the Eagle Tribune joining us here. All right, Angel, I know you got stuff to do, so hopefully you're going to be on at 10, and then did I retweet what she said? He put something up there. I think I retweeted it. But definitely Q. Driving Q's coming up later on this afternoon. Just tell what's going on here on the network coming up.
Q will be on from 3 to 5 this afternoon.
Awesome.
And he may be delayed as well, maybe, possibly, only because he has an interview prior to. So there's a lot of scheduling goes on with a lot of the stuff. And so he had an interview that he was trying to get for a long time. And like everybody else that we have on the network, we try to fit him in accordingly. So he should be on at worst case, he would be on 4 o'clock. But either way, we'll be back later on this afternoon. That's why we ask everybody to download the app. I can send out a push notification. Therefore, you guys know exactly when people are going to be on, or just, take a look, obviously, on the social medias as well. And you guys can see it there. But yeah, that, and then I have to freaking rattle Google's cages in order to make things happen, because speaking about the weather too, in Philly, apparently this morning, the morning temperature was 57 degrees. So,
what?
Yeah. After Labor Day weekend, it jumps up and down. Gas pump guy.
You and I would welcome that right now. I would welcome that right now. But it is what it is.
And earlier on, Steve originally from Mass, now via Fort Myers, when you were talking about the, I think it was the cop or whatever it was, he said, typical Mass corruption, remember the big dig.
Oh, the big dig, please. And look, it's a mess. It's a mess. It takes you, if you live within 10 miles of the city, it takes you 2 hours to get to work. There's rush hour now, like 24/7. Last thing, Jason McCourty was hired by ESPN yesterday. He's a new ESPN NFL analyst. I think he's awesome. He's going to be on Get Up, First Take, NFL Live, and Sports Center. He's going to debut today. He's probably debuting right now or will on Stephen A. show at 10. And, of course, the Super Bowl champion with the Patriots. So, all right, Angel, that's going to do it for us today. Great job. It's at 9:05 a.m. for his weekly ACC/Boston College report. Lots to talk about, and he may have another surprise or two as well. Thanks to Angel Martinez. Thanks to Bill Sparrows. Thanks to Billy Burt. I'll be back tomorrow morning at 7 a.m., everybody. Have a great and safe rest of your Hump Day Wednesday. Bye.